Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got a good show for you folks. You know, we always say that we do this show for the victims, right? That we're really doing these true crime shows for the victims. Today, we're truly doing this show for the victims. And I have a book that I had the privilege of reading this weekend that if this book doesn't make you shed a tear, you are not a human being. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to tell our author, Mark, darn you, Mark, you made me cry at a book for the first time in 3 years. I'm going to write a review later for him that will say as much. It may include some foul language. I don't like crying at books. I really don't. I'm not a crier. But I'm getting to be an old softy at my age. I'm realizing this now. Name of the book is a good one. The Las Vegas Massacre Connections. I do have a personal tie to this. Mark does as well. Mark was involved in this Route 91 shooting in Las Vegas. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Name of the book, let me get through it. The Las Vegas Massacre Connections, Finding Strength Through Tragedy After America's Deadliest Mass Shooting. It is put out by Wild Blue Press, our friends over there. And Mark has got many credits, writing credits to, and massive writing credits to his resume, including Rolling Stone People. And I'll bring him in. We'll talk about it here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bow in his general direction. He's gone through so much in his life, and we'll get his credits when we bring him in here. Mark Gray. Mark, thank you so much, my friend, for coming onto the program today.
It was quite an introduction. I don't think I deserve all that.
Oh, no, you do. First of all, let's get the resume here. Rolling Stone, People, you've written for some huge publications.
I have, yeah. I started, so I was a journalism graduate in college, and I did work for a local newspaper in Ogden, Utah, little Ogden, Utah. I guess not so little, but moved to Las Vegas in 2005. I did public relations for about a cup of coffee, a year and a half or so. And I got a job offer out of the blue from People magazine saying, you know, I was pitching them a lot of different things for my clients in Vegas. And they just hit me up and said, why don't you work for us? They offered me a job, created a job for me. And I started that gig in 2006 and did that till 2014. I left, went the freelance route, and almost immediately got on with Rolling Stone. And People kept me on as a freelancer still too. So I've worked for them for all those guys since the last 11 years. I've written for MSN.com a lot, Entertainment Weekly, A Partridge in a Pear Tree.
Wow, bigger than my resume. I'll tell you that much. Prairie Home Companion. That's the biggest I ever got. So I read.
That'll work.
I work for them. And NPR and NPR. Let me ask you this question, Mark. Of course, as part of your esteemed resume, it puts you in a lot of very cool positions. It'll put you in a lot of cool places. You get to meet a lot of cool people. So, of course, you end up in a lot of positions. Sometimes that puts you in positions of adversity. You may end up in a war zone. You may end up in the middle of a criminal situation.
Yeah.
You end up going to the Route 91 festival, which I'm sure you think on that day is not going to end up being the scene of a crime. Tell me from your perspective. I want your perspective first before we get to this wonderful book that you've written here, along with Mary Jo von Tillow. Tell me from your perspective that day, what happens that day with you that you end up at the Route 91 festival?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned war zone because that's literally what it was. But so I was there. I was assigned by Rolling Stone that weekend to cover the festival. Just a general, the best things we saw this weekend at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, which was in its fourth year. It started in, if I can get the math here correct, 2014, I think, or something like that. But it was fourth year of this festival. I'd gone all the previous festivals, and so I kind of knew what to expect. I knew it was always a fun weekend. 3-day weekend, it was right when the temperature kind of turns and it's no longer, 1,000,000 degrees in Las Vegas. So I was there just working, and that was it. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought, I'm going to just write the story, my usual thing. The story was supposed to be the 10 best things I saw. 9 of them were written and done and, in the can. I was waiting for the final one. I'm sorry if you can hear my dinging right now, but
No, that's fine.
I was waiting for the 10th. Part of it was going to be something on Jason Aldean, who was the final act of the final day.
Yep.
And he was 4 songs in, and that's when all hell broke loose. The first couple shots, there were 3. There's a pop, 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 and didn't really think much of it. There's a little bit of a break, pop, pop, pop again, a little bit of a break, and then that's when just all started happening. And in that moment, you just, during those first 3 pops, the boom, 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 you didn't think anything of it really. I thought it was fireworks, like a lot of people did. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until that barrage started happening that you really realized we're in the middle of something. And it was just pure carnage and chaos from that moment forward.
A lot of victims say that they think that first 3 shots were either fireworks misfiring or some sort of pyro that misfired or something. So they all waited for a second to figure out what was going on. Even military people thought that same thing, didn't they?
Correct. Yeah. A lot of people thought a lot of people thought fireworks. A lot of people thought pyro. A lot of people thought it was just a speaker kind of blowing out from Aldean's set. I talked to several military people who, one's actually featured in the book, a couple were not. And, very few of them even said, I recognized it immediately. Most of them kind of thought the same thing like we all did, fireworks, pyro, et cetera, et cetera. Very few of them realize in real time that's gunfire. When I talked to one guy featured in the book, Tony Berditis, this man is he's a Green Beret. This man, he's been in, more war zones than anyone could care to talk about. And he still kicks himself over the fact that he didn't realize immediately what it was.
Yeah. And at that point, at the point of Route 91, it's not real common that a shooter shows up at a music festival and starts opening fire. I mean, that wasn't something that
Correct.
we were alerted to. I mean, school shootings were a thing.
Yep.
That's something we expected. Open air shootings at different things, but not a music festival or a concert. Correct. At least there we could let our guard down. We could let our hair down, right?
Yeah. And that's the whole idea of going to a concert, right? And it'll make you, at least for me, and I'm sure, all, 24,000 of us that were there, 22,000 of us that were there, it makes you rethink open air concerts. And I've been to some since that day. Certainly, that was 8 years ago, but I've been to outdoor concerts with tall buildings around, and you're a little leery of it for sure. Because you're right. It should be a place where you go to have fun and let your hair down and not have to worry about the outside world for a couple hours. And suddenly you're fighting for your life, really.
Are we at a point now, Mark? I mean, I want to broaden the scope here a little bit, but you look at things like, gosh, we can go all the way to, the first attempt on President Trump to everything having to do with outdoors. We can even go to the Kennedy assassination. We can go to anything outdoors. And do we have to start thinking militarily as a people? Shopping centers, music festivals? Do we have to start being leery every time we step outside now?
I don't know that I'm certainly qualified to answer that, but what I can say is I think that we should be very vigilant in general about, unfortunately, we have to be really vigilant about stepping outside of our door, I feel like. But if you're in a massive crowd of people, unfortunately, I think history has shown that, more often than not, you're going to be just fine. But it's just that 0.1% chance. And that's the part that can be, pretty frightening.
There's a young man later on we'll talk about who it seems like got it not once but twice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll talk about him a little bit later. Which, if I were him, I think I'd walk around looking for people.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute, certainly, if you want to, but he's a remarkable guy, considering, this guy, talk about trauma.
Yeah.
And very different facets of the world. Yeah, one of the the wild things about this book and writing it was just hearing these stories and knowing, I can bond with these people over what I went through, but some of these people, I mean, I don't want to say what I went through is peanuts because it's not, but what some of these people went through, you just can't imagine. And I can imagine, but I also can't at the same time.
Right. How do you meet Mary Jo von Tillow, and how does this book come about?
Yeah, so I met, it's interesting. So the night, I should back up a little bit and kind of give the full scope. So the night of the shooting, October 1, 2017, so I was working for Rolling Stone. By the time I got home, the shooting happened at 10:05. By the time I got home, it was pretty late because I didn't drive down. I Ubered down there, because parking and all that kind of thing. And so by the time I got out, of course, the shooting happens. You couldn't get an Uber to save your life. You couldn't get a taxi cab. All the streets are shut down. So it took a while to finally get home. And once I did, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, and I was in shock. And so I decided to write a first-person story for Rolling Stone about my personal experience. I wasn't saying this is what happened to everybody, but this is what I went through personally. And I sent it in, I closed my laptop, and I have not read that story to this day. But it did really well. It took off like a rocket ship. And so 4.5 years later, Rolling Stone says, hey, the 5-year anniversary is coming up. We want you to kind of like look into this a little bit more. We'll have another reporter with you as well, kind of doing some of the more governmental type of stuff, talking about bump stocks, which the shooter had, and things like that. But we want you to like talk to the victims. And a lot of these victims don't want to speak to press as much anymore. Certainly the people who actually lost someone, that's not their life. They don't want to be, defined by that. Mm-hmm. But I was the secret weapon because I was one of them. I was there that night. So they said there was a California Angels, or excuse me, it shows my age, a Los Angeles Angels baseball game at every year that a lot of the survivors go to. And they pick this one game and they all go and they tailgate and they hang out. And we want you to go there and just tailgate and hang out with them and see what you can find out. So I went there, I coordinated with the woman who's in charge, and I just went to a baseball game. And I talked to a bunch of victims and wrote the story for Rolling Stone for the 5-year anniversary. That day, I also met Mary Jo von Tillow, who was actually sitting in front of me at the baseball game. She had lost her husband that night, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yep.
But and then her niece and her sister-in-law were also shot. Now, both those two lived. They weren't fatal, but her husband was fatal. So this story ends up, going in Rolling Stone for the 5-year anniversary. It was online. It was in the magazine itself, the print copy. And that was that. A year later, my phone rings and it's Mary Jo von Tillow. And she says, hey, I wanted to talk to you. I read that story of Rolling Stone. I really liked it. And I have this book idea, and I want to know if you're interested in working with me on this book. And that's how it all started. So I went down to her home in Southern California at the time. We, were together all day long, just really getting to know her and getting to know her husband. And I walked out of that meeting not knowing if something was going to happen, if this book was going to happen, or was that just a nice meeting with a nice woman? And next thing you know, we just kind of kept on charging forward.
I want to backtrack for a second here. So why, Mark, in 5 years, did you not go back and read your own story? Did you not want to relive the trauma?
Yeah, that's part of it. I feel like I lived it, and so I don't really need to read about it. I'll read other people's stories because that's not my story.
Okay.
But I know what I felt. I know what I lived, so I just don't really feel the need to. And I live in Las Vegas still, and we're still surrounded by it out here. I drive by that site, probably not weekly, but certainly a couple times a month. I'll drive, not intentionally. It's just kind of, it's on the strip.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it in a lot of ways. So I don't really need to go back and look at what I did that night in my mind.
I'm going to ask you a weird question, but bear with me while I ask it. There's such a thing as an eyesore and a gaping wound.
Yeah.
What do you consider that site?
I think it's a gaping wound. I don't see it as an eyesore. You know, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. What I think is sort of tragic is they made it a parking lot, and that becomes the eyesore. Is seeing the sort of it kind of is sacred ground. And 58 people lost their lives on that ground, and just painting stripes in there. It's kind of it's a shot in the gut in a lot of ways. And I've been back to that site. In fact, I went with Mary Jo von Tillow last year, the 7-year anniversary. It's the first time I'd been back on site. It's the first time she'd been back on site also. And I went back to where I was standing when it all started. She went back to where she was standing, which is actually on opposite sides of the venue. But it's and I there are people who are smarter than me certainly who have a kind of a better idea of what to do with that site. I just don't know that building a parking lot is the right way to go about it. Now, having said that, I realize that as you're on the Las Vegas Strip and it's a very expensive plot of land. It's not my money. They can do what they want with it. But they're trying to raise money to make a permanent Route 91 site on 2 acres of that plot see if I can get my directions correct, on the southwest corner.
Okay.
So that's a possibility. And right now it's owned by a tribe, and they have committed to donating the 2 acres for this site.
Okay. Does that feel like too much too late or too little too late?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does.
Kind of feels like an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing called the Healing Garden, which is in Vegas, and it's in downtown Vegas, kind of not far from Fremont Street, which a lot of people know about.
Okay.
And people really like it. It's a great space. It's very reflective. It doesn't have, it has no. It didn't have anything to do with that night, though. I mean, the shooting happened on the far, far south end of the Las Vegas Strip. The Healing Garden is in Old Downtown, which is probably 12 miles away. So it's a great spot. But the great thing about the Healing Garden, though, is it was organic, and it was built within, I think, 4 days of the shooting.
Okay.
Just very quickly happened. People started digging and saying, let's do something for these victims. And a lot of the families do go back there a lot, and they see it as a place of reflection and healing. Nobody's buried there. It's just a place to kind of reflect and remember those the victims of 58.
Mary Jo von Tillow, tell me a little bit about her story in that day and what connects the two of you. Why is that connection so strong between the two of you?
Yeah, so Mary Jo was there. She went every single year to this festival. She now lives in Florida, but at the time she was in Northern California, at a place called Cameron Park, just outside of Sacramento. And they went every single year to this place, her family. And that particular morning started out like a typical day. They'd gone to the festival that Friday night, that Saturday night. Sunday was going to be no different. They, did their whole thing. They, gambled in the morning, went down there, got down to the festival around 5 o'clock or so, and went to their spot. But they stood at the same spot every single year. I mean, I think I joke in the book that they might as well have had a parking spot, a reserve sign there, because they stood right there every single year. And it all was great that night. They're having a great time. They were shown on the big screen, the Jumbotron, a bunch that evening. And that was that, and they had they made the mistake of booking I believe it was a 6 a.m. flight on Monday morning out of Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Mary Jo had told Kurt, her husband, Kurt, we're never going to make this. There's no chance. Let's get this, I think it was at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I said, let's do that one instead. And he says, no, we're going to do it. We got to get home early. Of course, during the penultimate act of the evening, Kurt's having a good time. He's drinking Coors Light. That was his beer of choice. Kurt was a big beer drinker, and he's having Coors Light, and he says, change the flights. And Mary Jo was so annoyed because she said, Kurt, this always happens. I told you from the get-go, what were we doing with this? And so she's on her phone, changing her Southwest flights from the fairground there, from the parking lot there. And she did. She changed the flights, and that was that. And then when the shooting started, Now, there's no way of knowing this, that Kurt was quite possibly the first person fatally shot. If he wasn't the first, we know he was among the first because Jason Aldean was still on stage singing when he went down.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Jason had, once he realized what had gone on, he ran off stage and saying everyone in the festival was running and looking to hide and whatever they were doing. But Jason was still on stage singing When She Says Baby when Kurt went down. So we know he was among the first, if not the first. And at that point, and Mary Jo had actually asked him, she turned to look at him and say, "Are those fireworks?" And she turned around and Kurt was not there. He was already on the ground.
I wonder if anyone has ever asked Jason Aldean if he saw muzzle flashes and saw Kurt go down, and that's what made him leave the stage.
I don't know. I've spoken to Jason a couple times through my work with Rolling Stone and People Mag. I haven't spoken to him a lot, but I've spoken to a few times about it, and briefly both times, to be fair. But it's more of the how do you feel, and talking about his connection to Vegas and how it's stronger than ever and that kind of thing. But I've never heard him ask that. I know for a fact I looked up to see muzzle flashes and I didn't see them. Now, to be fair though, I was also looking on level probably 8, 9, 10 of the hotel. I wasn't looking up at the 32nd level.
Right. Because
and at that point, and we all thought, and Mary Jo also, we thought it was, a shooter or shooters, and we thought they were inside. At no point, it wasn't until way later that I realized it was coming from Mandalay Bay. And Mary Jo said that too. She had no idea. They never thought Mandalay Bay. They thought someone was on, in the festival.
My friend Wayne, that you and I were talking about, who was on stage, with iHeartRadio, iHeartRadio Vegas at the time, described you could hear bullets skipping off the stage. So I wonder if it was an oral thing with Jason, or if he felt something whiz by him, or if it was actually him seeing something that made him leave.
Yeah, I know Jason has talked about how he had the in-ear monitors, and so he couldn't really hear a whole lot because of that. And I don't know what made him finally, realize the scope of this thing, or maybe not the scope yet, because none of us knew at that point. But he's talked about how he had the in-ear monitor, so he wasn't really sure what was going on. Because if it was the crackle of the speakers, then he would probably know. And he said that's what he actually thought it was initially. It was the crackle of the speakers, and he thought, someone fixed the damn speakers. Right. But of course, it wasn't that. But yeah, I don't know what Jason was thinking, Sav. I've spoken with him briefly, but it's more surface level, kind of like, how are you holding up? Because people forget, he was there too, and his wife was pregnant at that time, also there too.
Well, and let's not forget too, and people may say, "Oh, poor Jason Aldean," but let's remember, he may think of himself as the catalyst of all this. He was the last act of the last day, and he may carry that ultimate guilt of, what? I might have been the whole catalyst that started this whole thing, because he was the performer that was there when this whole thing kicked off.
Yeah. And it's possible. What we've realized from, there was a 186 page report that the Las Vegas Metro put out about this after the fact, and I read every word of it. But what people forget is, this guy, the shooter, he was scoping different places too. It wasn't, I don't think it was an anti-Vegas sentiment. I mean, this guy was a millionaire high roller. He was here all the time.
Right.
Lived in Mesquite, Nevada, which is only, an hour out of Vegas. Plenty of casinos there too. He'd done researches for, Lollapalooza in Chicago. And I think they said he was there, kind of at one of the hotels overlooking Grant Park there. He was he'd done outdoor searches for Fenway Park in Boston, baseball game. He'd done searches for certain beaches. And he had a hotel room outside the Life is Beautiful festival, which was also in downtown Las Vegas 1 week prior to the shooting. And in fact, he had a room at Mandalay Bay and in downtown Vegas at the same time overlapping. So we're not sure. We'll never know. Was he looking at Life is Beautiful as kind of a dress rehearsal of sorts, or did he kind of get scared away from that one and go to this one? We have no idea.
Very true. Very true. I'm just talking from his perspective. I mean, he's on stage. It's the fourth song of his set. I mean, all kinds of things could be running through his mind. Why me? Why my set? Why did he pick me? Right?
Yeah, he very well may. I mean, my answer is probably it's just unlucky because, again, we know that it didn't seem like this guy was, it wasn't, based on just the searches and where he'd been already. And, it doesn't seem like it was an anti-Aldine. It didn't seem like it was anti-country music.
Right.
It didn't seem like it was it was just kind of like an unlucky situation for Jason.
He just took the opportunity.
Yeah, I took the opportunity. I have no idea what, I certainly couldn't answer what kind of if he carries that guilt with him or not. But, if he does, I could tell him it's not your fault.
Oh yeah, I think we all could. And the fact that he hasn't come out and said, I feel this guilt is well, thank God he doesn't, right? I mean, we don't know that for sure. And I'm not speaking for him, obviously. But sure. I'm just saying that could potentially exist. I mean, because to have that happen while you're up on stage, it's easy to buy in and say, why did it happen to me? Why did it happen while I was on stage? Why I was performing for all these people, trying to make these people happy, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's been he does almost every year on October 1st, he'll post something on social media about how thinking about you guys. Not a day goes by I don't think about this day. I'm sure that's true. There was a lot of us there that night, and we think about that night often. And so, I don't know whether he's carries that guilt or not, but he definitely doesn't need to. Nobody blames him. That's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. Before we go to break here, Mark, tell me just a little bit before we get into the second part of the book here. Now, Mary Jo von Tillow takes this bit of losing Kurt, and anybody could crumble at this point. You've lost your best friend. You've lost your soulmate. You lost your husband, the person who you've connected with the most in your world.
Yeah. And
she's gone from basically being one half of a whole to crumbling. Or did she? What happened here that all of a sudden she's exploded now? She's become something else. She's kind of become a phoenix that's rose from the ashes. What has she done with this death of her loved one?
Yeah, what she did, she certainly had her days where she was breaking down and not wanting to do a whole lot and crumbling up into a ball and laying in bed. And no one would blame her for this. But what she did was she sought out people who have survived other traumas and kind of talk to them about how they got over it, or not got over it, but how they were able to sort of move forward. And so she talked to people who, one guy who has a similar story. He's in the book. He lost his wife. So she talked to him about how he's been able to cope. She sought out a guy who his sister was killed by a serial killer and how he turned his life around based not solely on that, but it has a large part to do with his story. He sought out this guy who, we mentioned a little bit of him. He lost his father to a mass shooting and his home to a tornado, all in a matter of just a few weeks. And so how he was able to kind of take these moments and move forward. And so that's what she did. She found all these different people. One woman was sexually assaulted, and that's the thing. We realized trauma comes in all different forms. And so this book isn't about, murder per se. And it's also not a Route 91 book. I would say it starts on Route 91.
Right.
It starts Route 91. And it's kind of how and how she has moved forward in her life after, post Kurt, and through the help of all these interesting people who have also used their moment to kind of not capitalize, but figure out, their best path forward and their healing and their hope.
You also have a beautiful way of doing this. I'm not going to spoil the end of the book here for you, Mark, but you have a beautiful way, my friend, of weaving this thing to a beautiful ending. I'll put it that way. Yeah. I'll give that much to this audience to encourage them to go get this amazing book. There's beauty in this tragedy, and it's at the end of this book. And I encourage you guys to go get this amazing book. And that's one of those last moments that'll make you tear up.
There's a reason we chose that last chapter last.
Yeah, there's a reason that last chapter's last, and it's going to get you right in the feels. The Las Vegas Massacre Connections, finding strength through tragedy after America's deadliest mass shooting. When we come back with Mark Gray, I want to talk about that guy who's got it not once, but twice. If you had tragedy this bad twice, you'd crumble. That'd be it. But this guy not only keeps going, but he goes out and he helps others. I'm going to talk about Dion Green when we come back with Mark Gray. And we'll talk about what keeps him going with Mark. And why, when he sat down with Mary Jo, the person that she was able to do the Irish goodbye with, she had the choice of doing the Irish goodbye in a restaurant and just saying, she said, I don't want to make another friend, especially this guy. She chose to take his number. We'll get that story from Mark when we come back. What makes Dion so special? When we come back with Mark Gray. Again, the name of the book, we have a link in the description of this program. So you can go get this book, The Las Vegas Massacre Connections, Finding Strength Through Tragedy After America's Deadliest Mass Shooting. Mark Gray is our guest. Again, he wrote this book with contributions from Mary Jo von Tillow. Go get it right now. We come back with Mark, Dion Green. Right after this on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Mark Gray. He's written this wonderful book. It's called The Las Vegas Massacre Connections, Finding Strength Through Tragedy After America's Deadliest Mass Shooting. Now, before the break, Mark, I teased that there's a Superman out there who's taken not one hit, but two. Two of these hits that would destroy any human being, that would lay him out, basically put them in the fetal position. That would be it. Give up on life. You're done. Might as well call it a day. Not only that, but if you took two hits like Dion's taken, Mark, you would probably be leery of any human being ever again. You probably wouldn't trust humanity, right? But Dion is out there helping other human beings as we speak, selflessly. Tell us a little bit about Dion Green's story and how Dion is introduced to Mary Jo.
You could even argue Dion has been hit 3 times, technically.
Oh,
you could argue that based on the, the man was held at gunpoint one time,
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you could argue the 3 times. So Dion Green is fascinating. He's from Ohio, and Dion is, much younger than Mary Jo. Dion is, probably right now, just around 41, 42. So Dion was a former drug dealer, and he makes no bones about it. He knows he did that, and that was that, and he went to prison for it. And when he went to prison, that was when he reformed his life. So he got out, and the drug dealing was why he was held at gunpoint one time, but you can read about that in the book.
Yes. Yeah. It's a fascinating story. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. But so Dion, once he got out of prison, he reformed his life, and he was doing that in prison also. But he, was there one day just in his home, and it was in May. It was Memorial Day, actually, of 2019, I believe. I remember my dates are all correct in my head. He was there, and all of a sudden it was, there was, the whole Midwest was being hit by tornadoes at that point. And Dion's home in Dayton, Ohio at that point had been spared largely of this rash of tornadoes that had been sweeping all through the region. And then on Memorial Day, that did not happen. Things changed. So he was in his house, and sure enough, I think it was an F4 hit his house, hit his home. It's hard to say what it was when it hit the home. Was it an F3 when it hit, or an F4? But we know it was right there and not good. Mm-hmm. And so Dion's home was pretty much destroyed. He was, when the tornado came, he took his, at the time, girlfriend, his daughter downstairs in the home in the basement, and they just listened to the house talk. And it was, horrifying for this. And finally, once it's over, he went out and looked at the house and he said, there's not a whole lot of this house left. And he certainly tried. He still tried to keep the home and tried to keep it going. But for the next several weeks, every day was the same. It was Groundhog's Day for him. It was getting up, cleaning, getting rid of junk and dumpsters and, things like that. And after several weeks of this, he was kind of getting tired of it. A buddy called him and he said, why don't we go out one day to the river, and we'll go kind of soak and whatnot in the river and kind of take a break from this trauma. And Dion said, fine. While he's out on the river, he decided, I haven't seen my dad in a while. I'm going to call my dad and see if my dad wants to go get some drinks tonight and go. There's an area of town called the Oregon District in Dayton, Ohio. It's kind of the place where, you go for a night out. There's bars and coffee shops and restaurants and things like that. It's really the spot in Dayton for that kind of thing. So he called his dad and said, hey, Dad, I haven't seen you in a while. Do you want to go out and have some drinks? Dad says, absolutely, I'd love to. So he drags along his dad, his sister, her fiance at the time. And that was that. All's well. The end of the night's coming around. And they said, okay, it's time for us to leave. Dion and his dad walked out of the bar, and they're waiting for his sister to come out and look down the road, and they see a guy running the corner in full body armor and an automatic rifle. And the guy starts shooting. One of the people that went down was Dion's dad, who died in Dion's arms. Oh. So in a matter of, I want to say it was 8 weeks, 9 weeks, Dion lost his home and his father. And he was there for both. He was listening to his house fall apart in the tornado. And a couple weeks later, his dad is dying in his arms. Because as soon as his dad went down, Dion's on the ground with him. His dad was still alive. And he's saying, Dad, you got to pull through. You got to pull through. And it just, he was gone. Derek Fudge was his name. Mm-hmm. And Derek was gone. And so Dion is just, talk about a guy who's been through some stuff. He's remarkable. Dion is remarkable because this would have taken all of us out, I think. And you're right. You can't, if you're Dion, you think I can't leave the house anymore because, something bad is going to happen. And that's not what that's not his outlook.
No. And even after all that, and there's another important part to that story too. He applied for benefits for his father to bury his father. He's denied. Correct. He's 4 months short of a period where it's like a grace period, a 10-year grace period, because his father had been an ex-convict.
Yes, his father was ex-convict, and also cleaned up his life too.
Yes, and cleaned up his life. He had been
paid his debt to society, the whole thing.
Yes, he had been a good standing member of his community for 9 years and 6 months. Had he been for 4 more months before he had been killed, he would have qualified for benefits to bury him, to have everything paid for.
Yep.
Under this Victims Act.
Yep. But the MOCA Act, yes.
The MOCA Act. But he had been rejected.
Yes.
Over a technical.
And that was what crushed Dion. Because Dion thought, my dad has done everything right. He did his thing, but he's also paid his debt to society. And Dion was crushed and also floored. He said, how is this even possible? And so he started fighting for, future people or even his father for that matter. And he started, lobbying, different members of the legislature, local, state, federal, you name it. And Dion does not stop. Yeah. He is a, pedal to the metal kind of guy when this stuff happens. And that's what he said. He goes, I would never. He ended up starting a nonprofit for at-risk kids to help them. Because, he admits his father wasn't around much when he was a kid because his dad was, also incarcerated. And so Dion said, I want to help kids kind of find their way forward. And I can be that sort of father figure to them. And he talked about how he started this nonprofit because of VOCA, because of the thing that happened with his father. And so it's all kind of goes hand in hand with him. And he said straight up, the Derek Fudge Foundation would not happen if not for VOCA denying him benefits to bury his own father.
That's I don't I shake my head and wonder. And Dion is introduced to Mary Jo through a man named Tommy, who has an interesting story and all on his own. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Tommy, who introduces Dion to Mary Jo?
Yeah. So the way this book works is, these are all people Mary Jo met after the fact. And Tommy was one of the first people she met. Tommy Maher he's a fire commissioner in Long Island, still is to this day. Tommy, on 9/11, his best friend was running to the towers, childhood best friend was running to the towers and was never seen since. They found, his name was Joe Hunter. Joe Hunter's helmet was found, in the rubble after that. And so for 20 years, Tommy would think about Joe all the time, and he always wanted to find a way to honor Joe, but he couldn't figure it out. When the Vegas shooting happened, Tommy had an epiphany, and he said, I'm going to go take my van, which he had a van already, and he said, I'm going to take my van, and I'm going to go to the hometown of all the 58 victims, and I'm going to do random acts of kindness in their name on my own dime. So he'd go to he'd drive to these hometowns, he'd write these little pieces of paper, and he would, like he'd go to a laundromat or something, and he would leave little boxes of detergent on all the, washers, or he would leave, $5-10 on all of on top of them with a note that's saying something, to let him know, in remembrance of so-and-so, a victim of the Las Vegas shooting. And he'd do different things like that. If this person was a coffee lover, he might go to Starbucks and buy the next 20 people's coffee. If this person that passed was, a basketball fan, he might go to a basketball outdoor, court and leave free basketballs around, or whatever, these kind of different things. So one day, Mary Jo hears about this guy in her hometown, doing random acts of kindness in the name of Jo von Tillow, and she said, who the hell is this guy? And Tommy would never reach out to the families. He didn't want that kind of notoriety. But so eventually, though, I think it was Mary Jo's cousin found out about Tommy, and she said, hey, who's this guy using Kurt's name? Mary Jo reached out to him. He explained who he was. She thought he was a little bit of a grifter, a scam artist, and turns out he was not. She eventually met up with him and found out, his true intention, and found out about Joe and Tommy's whole, he's a fire commissioner. He was a sanitation worker on the day of 9/11. And he was just a few blocks from ground zero when the planes hit. In fact, he heard the planes going overhead, which happened on his anniversary also. So people had Tommy started becoming a bit of I don't want to use the term celebrity because that's sort of, downgrades it a bit, but he's become known among the sort of trauma community because of what he does for these people. And Dion Green had found out about Tommy and reached out to Tommy. Mary Jo had already been dealing with Tommy for a couple of years, and Tommy had told her, hey, why don't you come around to some of these trips with me? You call them honor trips, and talk to these people. Mary Jo did reluctantly, and she also, the whole thing was she was going to go, leave these money or whatever it was. And then Tommy says to her, hey, this guy, he lost his father in the shooting in the Oregon district in Dayton. He wants to meet with me. We're going to meet with this guy. And Mary Jo said, I don't want to meet with anyone like this. I don't want to meet another survivor. I don't want to, what do I have in common with this guy? She says, I'm in my 50s. I'm from Southern California. This guy's in his, at the time, 30s from Midwest. I'm white. He's black. Like, there was just not a lot of, I'm conservative. He's liberal. There's just not a lot of, cohesion here. And Tommy had told her, okay, well, here's the thing. We're going to meet with the guy. And if you're not feeling it, just use the restroom, do the old Irish goodbye, and leave, and I'll link up with you later. And so she said, okay. Dion Green meets him in this restaurant. It's an Irish pub, not far from where his father actually was shot. And they meet there. Within 5 minutes, Mary Jo, Tommy said very few words. Mary Jo and Dion are thick as thieves, these two. And they talked for a couple hours, just with Tommy barely just sipping iced tea in the background, you know. And they are now Tommy and, or excuse me, Dion and Mary Jo are very tight now. They speak often, send Christmas cards to each other, the whole thing. And that was her joke, was that, you know, the Irish goodbye never happened that day, that was in her entire intention. Her entire intention was to leave and just say, oh, you know, I got something going on in my life, out I go. And that just never happened.
Yeah, I love that story. I love that story. And it goes to show you, Mark, that it isn't necessarily, I mean, it's just this thin line, right? This thin line that separates us. There's really, as much as we like to think that there's this huge divide between all of us, there's just this thin line that ties us all, really. I mean, just this thin line that we all have something in common, right?
We're not all that different, really, at the end of the day.
No.
And that's what, and you know, and Mary Jo knew that, but I think it was really drilled into her head that day that we're really not all that different. You know, all these, you know, whether it's, you know, age differences or political differences or, you know, whatever it is, you know, background, all that kind of stuff. We're all still human at the end of the day.
Yeah. And the other thing that it really hits home is we all truly need each other. We all truly do need each other. We all need to lean on each other. We really do. As much as we'd like to put up walls and push each other away and point fingers, we can't. We just can't live like that. We really do all need to lean on each other. That's the way this whole thing works.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing I absolutely love about that story. That's for sure.
Yeah, that chapter really defines the book in a lot of ways, because the whole thing is, you know, I tell everyone this. It's Mary Jo's story in a way, but it's a lot of other stories. But she's the thread who ties all these people together. And in a lot of ways, there's some overlap. Sometimes there isn't. But in that particular chapter, there's a lot of overlap with these people and on how they came into her life. You know, and all these people are just, again, there's silver linings all along the way throughout this entire book.
That's right. That's right. Quickly, before we leave today, I did want to talk, you mentioned the lawyer at the beginning of the program. There's a lawyer in this book you mentioned who is, this program's out of Minnesota. He had a huge movement in the battle with the diocese here in Minnesota. Tell us a little bit about the lawyer that's in this book.
Yeah, so Jeff Dion, not to be confused with Dion Green.
Right.
Jeff Dion, fascinating man. So Jeff Dion, his full-time job actually he is the CEO of the No Abuse Project, which is kind of goes after you know, these people who have abused children. And he really was sort of the driving force, especially Minnesota, for the going against the archdiocese. He got a bunch of laws changed to make it so it was easier to go after these, you know, these abusers later on in life. Because what he found out was when these people are abused, sometimes as children, teenagers, or whatever, they're not ready to come forward. They take time. Yeah. So he got the statute of limitations extended in not just Minnesota, but in Virginia and a bunch of other places. Part of his work is actually what got a lot of the Epstein people to be able to come forward too.
Yeah.
Which is even a bigger thing, but that's his full-time job. But Jeff also he might be the most trauma-informed human being in the country. He is the man who, when these mass shootings happen, these mass attacks happen, he's the one who kind of sets up the GoFundMe for the to go to all the victims and the survivors. And that was how he met Mary Jo, was because he was in charge of the GoFundMe for Vegas. And so that's sort of his whole thing. He's done it for Vegas. He did it for the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. He did it for you know, a bunch of school shootings. He was involved in 9/11. Yeah, he's really done a lot of this stuff, and how his life changed when he was a teenager. he had his older sister was just this promising woman who had got her degree in college, and she started working for Arby's in the roast beef company
Mm-hmm.
in just outside of Atlanta. And he was going to and she was working there. She started as a management training type of thing. One day she didn't show up for work, and that was unlike her. And so the Arby's people were kind of calling her, wondering, why are you not here? You're late. And no one ever answered the phone. Turned out she was murdered in her apartment building while doing her laundry in a laundry room.
Oh, geez.
And they didn't really know much about it at that time. This was in the early 80s. The police weren't very forthcoming with their info. And Jeff was just a little lad. He's 13, 14 at the time. And he demanded no answer. So he was cold calling and cold lettering the police department saying, what happened to my sister? What happened to my sister? And nothing was happening. So there was a Boy Scout troop leader of his who was a lawyer. So he started asking him, what can I do? And this became his mission, was to get kind of justice for his sister. And the time they couldn't figure out who did it. And for years they couldn't figure it out. One day he got picked up from school, and his mother said, they found Paulette's killer, and you're never going to believe who it was. And he said, and immediately he thought, please don't tell me it's somebody that I know.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't deal with that. And it turned out it was Otis Toole, excuse me. And that name at the time rang a bell to Jeff, but he couldn't figure out why. And he said, I feel like I know this guy. Otis Toole was the man who killed Adam Walsh, the son of John Walsh from America's Most Wanted. Of course, John started that show kind of to honor his son Adam,
Yep.
And all came full circle. And it happened and Jeff grew up in Hollywood, Florida, which is where Adam was taken from the mall. And he remembers riding his bike all the time, seeing posters looking for Adam. And it turns out his sister was killed in a different state by the same man that killed Adam Walsh.
Man.
And so Jeff his life has been dedicated to honoring his sister Paulette. He became, a victims' rights attorney, kind of because of this very thing, and making so victims had rights themselves. Because he just remembers as a kid trying to get answers, and he said, he demanded, we're victims too. Yeah, we didn't get, no one stabbed us, no one shot us, but we're victims too. And that's come a long way. And now the police admit, and prosecutors admit, the family, they are victims as well.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So Jeff is he's when there's a mass casualty incident, you can almost guarantee Jeff is involved.
And really doing the Lord's work. He really is. I mean, he's
involved in Uvalde. We talked to a woman in Uvalde about Jeff and all that kind of thing. So he's very he's hyper aware of these things.
Yeah. He's such an amazing human being. So such uplifting stories that you've put in this book, Mark. And I tell you, it's one of those books that you could have pulled stories. Again, there's 58 stories there that you could have pulled, that could have dwelled on the sadness, the depressing nature of death as it is, and trying to heal from that process. But you've chose to focus on how those phoenix rise from the ashes, and how people take a tragedy and turn it into how we uplift others, and how we use someone's memory to move forward in life and spawn great things. And again, you got me to cry, damn it.
That was the goal. That was the goal. When I'm writing this thing, I said, what's going to make Tim shed tears?
Yeah, and you did it. Yeah, and then I remember seeing that in the liner notes too. I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I did it. I made him cry. Woo! So I tip my cap to you. It's an amazing book, and man, I encourage everyone to go get it. It's you've outdone yourself. You really.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mark. The Las Vegas Massacre Connections, Finding Strength Through Tragedy After America's Deadliest Mass Shooting, is available now It's put up by Wild Blue Press. Mark Gray, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
It was my pleasure. My pleasure indeed. Folks, I don't know how we're going to lighten things up more, but we're going to bring in Jessica Freeberg now. And it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time you've all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, you need a co-host. So I won't quite yet go to that land to the east that has a bunch of losers in it, a bunch of lions in it. I can do that because, see, I'm wearing this sweatshirt today, if you're watching on video, that has the victorious Vikings on it. No. I'll just simply go across town to one of such pros that has, let's see, she has not one, not two, but is it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books out now? I think there's 10 books out now. She has
so many.
There's so many books out now. The Hindustan Times called her a journalistic juggernaut, I believe is what they said. An author of awesome prose. I think they also said, they said, please, mercy on our charts. We don't have enough ink here at our facilities to print these many charts that you're crushing left and right, they said. And Binder, I believe his name is, he called me up the other day. Binder said, please, ask her to have mercy on our souls. I said, I can't do that. She can't stop. She can only be contained. Ladies and gentlemen.
Can't stop, won't stop.
That's right. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah. She said she learned it from Diddy, but she won't claim that. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. She is witty. She's intelligent. She's going to bring the funny today. And of course, she's quite easy on the eyes. Here she is, Jessica Freeberg. Jess, how you doing?
Hey, I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here with you, Tim.
I'm happy to have you. It's you are the second part of today's uplifting show.
I love that.
Yeah. We had quite the uplifting beginning part of the show. And now we've got an uplifting second part of our show.
Oh, good. So you're not going to traumatize me and make me throw up in my mouth at the end?
I didn't say that. Actually,
well, that's the uplifting part, huh?
Yeah, that's the uplifting part. Yeah. No, actually, you know what? Our palate cleanser today is I actually picked a palate cleanser today that I think you're going to like.
Oh, good. I do. I always like your palate cleansers. They always make me smile.
You know what? I picked a topic today that I think we both have in common. A little something we both like. It's going to be a Planet of the Monkeys palate cleanser today.
I knew when you started talking it was going to be monkeys. I'm so excited.
That's right. Planet of the Monkeys palate cleanser. I just have to get that out there.
Ooh, I'm excited.
That's right. Planet of the Monkeys palate cleanser. So that's waiting for us at the end of the book. It's like the monster at the end of the book. Yeah, that's our
best book ever. I love that book.
Yeah, I love that book too. But that's our monster at the end of the book today. But we have to get through the book. Well, let's work our way there. First of all, had a decent weekend?
Oh, yeah, it was the best. It was Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, though, because it was the first year that my youngest didn't go trick-or-treating. So it was the first time in, 23 years that we didn't have a trick-or-treater out there.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. But she had friends over. We had a little party, and I decorated and put all these little pumpkins out for them to paint, and we had fun.
Were you a little sad at that?
Oh, gosh. Yes, definitely. So last year, she didn't go trick-or-treating with my husband and I. She went with her cousin, but she was still out. That was like we were like two little lost puppies. Like we didn't know what to do with ourselves. We went outside and we're like walking around, looking at all the kids in their costumes. We probably looked really creepy.
Probably.
It didn't feel right just to sit at home. It was just, I don't know, it was weird.
Take it from an old guy. You get used to it.
Yeah.
You learn to appreciate the kids that come to the door, and you learn to, yeah.
It was fun. It was fun to hand out candy to the kids because often we would, sit the candy out with a little note that said help yourself. And I'd always be like, okay, it's going to be gone when we get home. And these polite little children would only take one or two. There was always a bunch left over when we got back. But it was fun. My favorite costume was this little boy. He was everything. He was a dinosaur, cowboy, and construction worker. He had all of the stuff on the one costume. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are living your best life right now, aren't you? He was like 5.
Really?
So cute.
Aw.
Yeah, he was everything.
Oh, look at that. I mean, that's, oh, wow. Yeah, the funniest I think I've ever seen, you've got the kids that go around and they do the Mario, the Mario family. You got Mario, Luigi, Yoshi.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who all the characters are, but intern Yoko looked at a girl dressed as Yoshi and said, "Are you an alligator?" And I went, "Oh my God." I laughed my silly ass off. And I went, "Oh, you've officially graduated into seniordom."
Yep.
Yeah. When you don't know who Yoshi is.
Yep. Yeah. You're no longer cool.
Nope. No longer cool. Past cooldom. Yep.
Yeah. And my big kids were going out and they're dressed up at college and sending pictures of us in their costumes. They were pretty funny.
Oh.
I shouldn't tell you what my son was, but it was hilarious. Should I tell you?
Yeah, spill it. Yeah.
All right. This is a judgment-free zone, friends, so don't even judge us.
That's right.
He went as Jesus.
Nice. Yeah.
He looked great, but I'm like, oh, honey, you got a beer in one hand and your Jesus beard on. This just feels wrong.
Well, he makes his own wine. See? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a funny costume.
That is cute. And then his friend went as a priest. So I'm like, a priest and Jesus walked in the bar. There's so many jokes.
There is. No, see, that's funny. You know what? Actually, okay. So in relation to that, on the Jericho cruises, there was a Jericho cruise Jesus that shows up every year.
Oh, I love it.
And I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's a tiny skull that sits behind me somewhere here. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, I can't find it right now. Oh, Joe Montana fell over. Anyways. Yeah. Did you see how Joe Montana fell over? He must have been knocked over by
one too many drinks.
He did. Yeah. He probably has been drinking during Halloween. But this tiny skull I got from Jericho Cruise Jesus.
Oh.
He used to.
Well, I'm fully convinced that God has a good sense of humor. Yeah. So I'm sure that he was laughing along with us.
Actually, you know what? To be even more sacrilegious, if you're ready for this, I know people right now, their ears are burning and going, "Stop!"
No, we're sorry, you guys. We're terrible.
I know. But the guy who claims to be the reincarnated John the Baptist, you can find him on YouTube. I know this. People are going, "Stop it, God." He claims Jesus not only did he love sex a lot. Okay, that's really sacrilegious. But
my goodness.
Yeah, I know. I just threw it way out the window here, Jess. But he also claims that Jesus had a hell of a sense of humor. Take it for what you
had to. I mean, I feel like Jesus had a good sense of humor. God definitely does. You saw me like falling all over the place, my microphone falling off in my hand. I'm like, if God's not laughing at me right now.
Yeah. There you go.
That's right. Anyway, I thought it was cute. And you know what? It's the greatest compliment because every year as a kid, he would go as his favorite character. So
yeah,
he loves JC. What can I say?
That's right. It's just a tribute. And I'm sure JC's in the background going, "Cool costume, dude."
It's like, you look good, kid.
That's right. Now try and hold a fistful of M&Ms with that. That's the humor.
That's right.
That's wonderful. Someone in there is like, "You're going to hell, Tim."
I know.
Yeah. But no.
I mean, this would be the least of the reason.
Yeah, right. They've never listened to the show if they think that's the deal. They think that's the one that's taking me down. You're sorely mistaken. Speaking of things that are going to send me to hell, welcome to Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. Boy, do we have stories for you today. And speaking of Halloween, that's what we're leading off with today.
Wonderful.
Because there's one guy in West Seattle who just decided, I'm going to melt down on Halloween.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he had enough, Jess. A man caught on camera torching West Seattle Halloween display. He'd had enough. He just decided, woo, we'll get rid of it with fire, Scarecrow.
Wow, he just set it on fire.
Yeah, and the neighbors rushed in to help, evidently, because it was, you don't want to burn down people's Halloween decorations. That's just not right.
No, a flame could jump and burn down their whole house.
That's right. That's right. A man was caught on camera torching a family's Halloween display in the middle of the night with flames spreading dangerously close to a West Seattle home. Becca and Chris Sandy woke up to find their Halloween display burnt and charred the Tuesday morning before Halloween.
Aw,
Yeah.
didn't even make it to the holiday.
No. Just started picking them up and throwing them in like it was a burn barrel bonfire, Becca Sandy said. Evidently not in the spirit of things. That's for sure. Just throwing them in. Not good at all. Trying to grab the rest of the story, but there's 1,000 ads here. Literally 1,003 ads. Thank you, KIRO of Seattle. Appreciate that. Let's see. How do I get to the rest of the story? I think that is the rest of the story.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just lost his dang mind and set everything on fire.
Lost his dang. Oh, here we go. Lost his dang mind. Here we go. She's describing what their surveillance video captured. A man setting 2 fires and using their decorations as fuel. He kicked this coffin down and dragged the Bob Ross skeleton into it. So Bob Ross had to suffer so we all could live.
They had a Bob Ross skeleton?
They did have a Bob Ross skeleton.
I love these people. That's amazing.
I blame AI for this because all the recent AI videos that make Bob Ross look evil, I think that's why this guy went after the Bob Ross skeleton. Have you seen these AI videos?
No, you sent me one the other day, and I was like, "How dare they?"
I sent you a Mr. Rogers one, but there's these new AI videos that are made on Sora and other apps that make Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross look like complete assholes, and I blame that. I think this guy watched one too many videos and he went after the Bob Ross skeleton.
He probably thought that was reality, which is really scary.
Yeah, right. So he kicked the coffin down, dragged the Bob Ross skeleton into the fire, and set Bob Ross on fire, and then began grabbing the little skeleton animals and throwing them in there as well, said Chris Sandy.
Wow, was he like on meth or why?
We're about to find out. Chris told KIRO 7 the flames quickly grew, threatening the family's home. We're very, very lucky because those bushes caught fire and it's right by the fence, right by the house, Becca added. The police and fire said that if it hadn't rained, this would be a very different outcome.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah. A neighbor's camera caught the massive flames, but it was his cat that spotted them first.
That was a good watch cat.
Yeah, good watch cat. Just fire. Yeah, just, fire. It was the cat that pointed that out first. I noticed my cat, Frankie, who's sort of a skittish cat, but generally would be asleep by then, standing on her dining room table and looking out this direction, neighbor Nick Haskell said. Haskell told KIRO 7. He rushed out to confront the suspect. Always a good idea. Surveillance video captured him yelling at the arsonist. What do you say to an arsonist as he's out there throwing crap in a fire? Do you just, hey, stop that? Do you have a problem with Bob Ross? throw one on for me. What do you say to the guy?
Yeah, I don't know. How do you rationalize with someone who's completely off their rocker?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get him to stop very easily. That's for sure. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if their house caught on fire, so I just had to get out of there, he said. As he ran after the suspect, other neighbors jumped in to put out the fire. Literally came over with like a pot of water, Becca described. Another one brought the fire extinguisher, which is now in the casket on the lawn, evidently.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. to the fire extinguisher. They must have used all of it. For Becca, these decorations aren't just for show. They've helped turn neighbors into family. She is such a giver, so I want to give back to her because she's my favorite. She's like an aunt that I don't have, said neighbor Mackenzie. The damage is estimated between $500 and $1,000. That's an expensive layout for the yard.
Yeah, it adds up, though. I mean, think about how much you spend on just those small skeletons in the yard. Those are like $500 on their own if they have something big like that.
How much do you think the Bob Ross skeleton costs?
I mean, was he a legit, she bought him as Bob Ross, or did she just get a skeleton and put the crazy hair on him?
I think she made him. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Those skeletons are depending on where you snag one and how good quality they are, they can be up to $100 for one of those skeletons.
Yeah. And
a coffin. That's big.
Well, let's face it. Bob Ross skeleton, priceless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a happy little skeleton.
That's right. A happy little skeleton painting happy little trees.
He was until he caught on fire.
Yeah, and then not so happy. Then.
No.
Burning, not happy. Burning. Yeah. The Sandys say neighbors came by to help clean up and brought new Halloween decorations, turning a scary situation into something special at that point. So that was nice. So Halloween was saved after all.
Most people are good, Tim.
Yeah, they are. Except for this one person in Seattle, which is where we stay for the next story. There's a little saying here, Jess. A little saying we have here in the States. Don't bring an axe to a gunfight. Which is what one person found out when he went up against the Seattle police.
With an axe.
Yeah. Seattle police shoot and kill a person reportedly armed with an axe.
Yikes.
Wah,
that
wah.
didn't turn out so well.
No, it didn't. No. Happy Halloween. Guess it won't be trick-or-treating next year. Authorities say the man was possibly armed with an axe, then produced a gun when contacted by Seattle police officers. Seattle police shot and killed a man who reportedly wielded an axe on Thursday afternoon. Officers were sent to 5th Avenue South and South Holgate Street around 4:15 p.m. When they arrived, the male was still wielding what Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes described as an edged weapon. Oh, it's got an edge, all right, especially if he's been sharpening it. Police said the man may have also been armed with a knife. The King County Sheriff's Office said the man at some point produced a gun. Officers first tried to subdue the suspect with non-lethal force. When that was ineffective, they shot the man. The suspect died on the scene. Investigators are still working to determine whether the suspect was threatening anyone in the neighborhood or the officers before he was shot. 3 officers... Wait, I think I read this right. They didn't know whether he was threatening the officers before he was shot?
And why did they shoot him?
I don't know. Target practice? Fun? So let me read that again.
It's weird.
Investigators are still working to determine whether the suspect was threatening anyone in the neighborhood or the officers before he was shot.
So they're investigating to see if there was a just cause to shoot him. Maybe.
Has to be. Well, you don't know if he was threatening you before you shot him? So he just wandered up to you with an axe? Maybe, here, hold this? You didn't know why he was holding the axe?
Yeah, and then he went for a gun. I think there was some threatening involved in this scenario, but
There has to be, because if he was coming up to voluntarily turn in his weapons and you shot him, it was probably not a good thing to do. Right?
I mean, I often walk around my neighborhood wielding an axe in one hand and a gun in the other.
Because you never know, Jess. You might have to chop down a tree and shoot a turkey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is survival here,
That's right. That's right. In the rural areas, you never know. 3 officers were involved, according to Barnes. KCSO said more than one officer fired their gun. Oh, boy. But it's unclear if all 3 officers fired at the man. So, don't want to take any chances. To me, this sounds like, the Police Squad movies, with Leslie Nielsen. It's like...
It sounds a little comical.
They just all open fire until they empty their clip, just to make sure. King 5 camera at the scene, King 5 News, captured the window of a police cruiser pierced by multiple bullets. It is a Police Squad movie, I think is what it is. Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, I sincerely hope he was threatening them, just so there was a valid reason for this to happen.
Yeah. Now watch, he was from a tree cutting service, and yeah. This was the first officer-involved critical incident since termination of the consent decree in Seattle. The King County Independent Force Investigation Team is leading the investigation per state law. KCSO is leading the investigation with assistance from detectives from the Washington State Patrol. Where are we going here? Massachusetts. Evidently, if you work in Governor Healy's office, life is quite grand. Not only that, but you can get a lot done. And there's a reason you can, because you're probably chemically altered.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
part of the gig?
Part of the benefits of working in Governor Healy's office. An employee with Governor Healy's office is fired following a drug arrest. Lamar Cook, the governor's Western Massachusetts deputy director, was arrested after 8 kilos of cocaine were delivered to him at a state office building. So sometimes you got to stay awake and get stuff done.
I guess. Wow, that's crazy.
That's a lot of coke. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey in her office confirmed Wednesday morning that one of her staffers had been fired following his arrest. The governor's office has been made aware of the arrest of an employee, Lamar Cook. A spokesperson for Healey said in a statement, "The conduct that occurred here is unacceptable and represents a major breach of the public trust. Mr. Cook has been terminated from his position effective immediately. The criminal investigation is ongoing, and our administration will work with law enforcement to assist them in their work." The state website says Cook served as the governor's Western Massachusetts deputy director in Springfield. And no, not Missouri, Massachusetts. He doesn't know The Simpsons. He has reportedly served in that role since April of 2023. Cook was charged with cocaine trafficking, unlawful possession of a firearm, and unlawful possession of ammunition. So yes, he brought his gun to work, kids. The Hampton District Attorney's Office reported that. He was arraigned in Springfield District Court on Wednesday and ordered held on $25,000 bail. That's it. Ahead of another hearing on Friday. So he had
That's crazy.
8 kilos of coke, Jess, sent to work, had his gun, fully loaded gun at work. 25 grand.
No big deal.
No big deal. Prosecutors said the 45-year-old Cook was arrested Tuesday following an investigation conducted by state police, Homeland Security, and other partner agencies. They said investigators have seized multiple parcels containing a total of 21 kilos of suspected cocaine, including 8 kilos that were intercepted on Saturday during a controlled delivery operation in Springfield. So they got him in the process of accepting these 8 kilos.
And that's how light he's getting off. That's crazy.
25 grand for your bail. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's like nothing.
Is it because he's a government worker or works for the governor?
Maybe he knows someone in the prosecution's office or whoever. I don't even know who decides who sets bail.
I don't know. Prosecutors said the investigation that led to Cook's arrest stemmed from 2 prior seizures conducted by law enforcement earlier this month on October 10th. So they've been tailing him for a while. On October 10th.
Maybe it's just not a crime that requires much from them, and in terms of money. I'm so confused by this.
I don't know. On October 10th, they intercepted and searched 2 suspicious packages at Hotel UMass in Amherst, which are found to contain approximately 13 kilos of suspected cocaine. I'm confused. I don't know. But they're like,
Seems like so much. Like, he could sell that, right? Like, that's more than enough for one person.
That's trafficking. I mean, on a federal scale, he's a trafficker. And he's working in the governor's office. But, $25,000.
No big deal. That's crazy.
Yeah, no biggie. No biggie. Now, on the other hand, if you just want to relax while you're doing your job, just a little, you want to get away from it all. Let's say you have a very stressful job, Jess. I know you have a very stressful job. Not only this job, but your day job, your shoot job, as they say in the wrestling business. I myself, not a stressful job. This is not a stressful job. But, I mean, you see me drinking out of a red Solo cup. I don't have anything alcoholic in this. It's just soda.
I wasn't going to say anything, Tim. I'm not here to judge. I am Jesus's mother.
It's just,
I accept all.
You are Jesus. That's right. You're Mother Mary. Thank you, Mother Mary. It's just soda. See, you can look on camera. It's just soda.
Well, it could be rum and Coke, Tim. I'm just saying.
It's not. There's nothing else.
And this is not vodka.
There's nothing alcoholic in it. But here's the thing. There's one Palo Alto home burglary victim who was found having a little nip while he was robbing a house.
Really?
He had to take a little break, Jess. It's a little stressful robbing somebody and trying to get away with it.
It is a lot of work.
Oh, it's stressful. And then the fact that you might get caught.
Got to calm the nerves.
Oh, you got to soothe those nerves. You got to, sometimes you got to, serenity now.
Your little meditation.
Yeah, you got to calm down. Just calm down. So what happened here was a Palo Alto resident returned home over the weekend. Well, they were supposed to be gone.
Oh.
Can't a guy just take a minute to sit and have a nice glass of wine after he's robbing you without being interrupted?
A little Chardonnay.
Yeah, a little Chardonnay. Maybe a little Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Pinot Noir. Palo Alto resident returned home over the weekend to find a burglar sitting at his kitchen table indulging in a glass of wine.
Oh, I don't blame him. If somebody had great wine and I was there, making my goods or taking their goods, as the case might be.
Yeah.
I might crack it open.
If there's a nice Rothschild sitting there, maybe I'd partake.
Yeah. If I'm like a person who's used to drinking my wine out of a box and I see some good bottles, how are you gonna deny yourself?
Out of a box?
First I'd be like, how do you open this?
Hey, this isn't Franzia.
Where's the spigot?
If I don't have to carry it under my arm out of the liquor store, then by God, I don't know how to treat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be confused and excited all at the same time.
Confused and excited. Hey, this has one of them there Kirks in it. How do I get it open?
He wasn't drinking it out of the bottle like an animal. He was having a glass of wine.
That's right. He took the time to appreciate the bouquet.
Like a true gentleman. Yeah.
The incident happened at about noon on Sunday at a home on Bryant Street, south of Oregon. The police department said in a press release that the resident, a man in his 70s, left his home in the morning, and when he returned home, he found an intruder sitting in the kitchen drinking his wine. The man told the suspect to leave, and after the suspect left, the resident called the police to report the incident. The resident also reported that his house had been rummaged through. Officers arrived and searched the neighborhood, finding and detaining the suspect without incident. How did they know who this was? That's what I want to know. I mean, did the guy recognize him? He had to have recognized him.
He's like, Bob, are we serious right now?
Oh, Bob, I know you value my wine collection, but come on, you could have come over. I would have poured you a glass.
All you had to do was ask.
Yeah. The suspect was identified as 31-year-old Sabina Blanco of San Francisco, who is booked into the Santa Clara County Main Jail for felony residential burglary, misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia, and misdemeanor battery on a police officer for allegedly spitting on an officer. Fly on the wall. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that arrest. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a show.
Anyone with information about the incident, they're being asked to call the Palo Alto Police Department's 24-hour dispatch center. You want to know how it went down? How he uncorked the wine? If he got the full bouquet? What do you need to know more about him actually drinking the wine? I mean,
he slosh it around in his cup, you know, like you're supposed to really get the flavor flowing.
Do you need to know what hints were in the wine? Was it a nutty bouquet? Did it have hints of chocolate? Do you?
That sounds wonderful.
It must have been a serious crime. Maybe it was a serious wine. Yeah.
It must have been French.
I think so. Maybe. Oui. All right. Well, speaking of celebrating with a little drink here, Jess, we go to Australia where this driver celebrated plowing a car into a family home by cracking open another drink.
Cheers.
Cheers. He'd already been drinking, but hey, celebrate cracking your vehicle by cracking open another one. CCTV vision has captured the moment a resident and neighbors tackled a suspected drunk driver to the ground after a car plowed into the home of Melbourne's southeast. Vision shows the blue Holden station wagon lose control at about 11:30 p.m. and hit a car parked in a driveway on, I believe this is Bremlea Way in Cranbourne West. The force of the smash pushed the parked car through the garage of the family home, destroying a brick pillar and causing significant damage to the house's structure, as well as the vehicle. Now, a family of 3 were inside the home at the time, but thankfully weren't injured. Resident Janet Adams described waking to the sound of an explosion before opening the front door to see a plume of dust and smoke outside the home. We're so fortunate that none of us were injured. The house is broken, but that can be fixed, she said. Police allege the driver of the Holden attempted to flee the scene, but was restrained by residents until officers arrived. We all came running out. He was climbing out of the car, stumbling around, went back, got his cans, that's in cans of beer, and then tried to take off to the corner where everybody sort of jumped on him and pinned him down, neighbor Ebony Hall said. He was still drinking. Yeah, blood coming out of his mouth, like pinned to the floor, but he still wanted to drink. He wanted to smoke. He just wouldn't stop, resident Dylan Vischer said.
Oh my gosh. This is so, my face as you're telling this, everything you say, my mouth gets whiter and whiter. I'm like, really? He kept drinking when he was like on the ground and bloody?
Here's another one for you, Jess. There were probably 3 cans littered across the driveway. That's how much he was still drinking.
I dare say this young man has a problem.
I think so. The alleged driver is a 27-year-old Cranbourne man, and he was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He was so sloshed, he was that relaxed when he hit the house. I'll show you a picture in a second.
Yeah.
An investigation into the crash is ongoing. Take a look at, let me shrink this back down again here. That's what the house looked like when he hit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he hit going full speed into the house.
He is lucky he did not get hurt.
Mm-hmm. And then
that's crazy.
Here's a picture here. Here's another picture here of the car in the house.
Wow.
Just boom, right into it.
Well, and I love how all these neighbors are like banding together when these things are happening. It's the second story where the neighborhood has come out to defend and protect.
Yeah, they just come right out. There's one of the cans on the lawn. He's just
smashed it up like a real frat boy.
Yeah, just, smash. He probably right up against the head. Yeah, just, when he's done with it, just smash it up, throw it on the lawn.
It's funny. When I was clearing out Brielle's room after her little Halloween party with her friends, all of their sodas were smashed like that. And I came carrying them out and I'm like, were they having a frat party in there? These all smashed.
They were smashing their cans?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh my God. That's funny.
That's all I could say. My little 15-year-old and her little track friends are over here having a rager with soda.
A rager with soda. That's the cutest thing ever.
Oh, they're darn cute. I'm like, why are these all smashed?
Because they have rage, teen rage.
It's a frat party or what?
Yeah. It's Halloween and we're angry. Yeah, no candy. Yeah.
Must be the sugar.
Yeah. We can't dress up in costumes. Yeah. It's all self-imposed. Yeah. I mean, they could have put on
teenage
costumes.
Angst.
Yeah. They could have put on costumes and went and got candy. I think I had...
Well, they did try to wear some animal costumes in the house, but they got too hot.
Really? Isn't that
they were quickly abandoned.
Isn't that a confusing age? I mean, it's just...
It's such a funny age. I mean, my kids, particularly my girls, tend to like be young for their age and like the things that they like and the way that they act.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny to watch them grapple with like, oh, like I'm a full-blown teenager now. Like, because she was going to go trick-or-treating with her cousin.
Sure.
And then her cousin was quite upset that she wasn't going.
Oh my God.
They've been going together forever.
Yeah. You might as well go. You might as well go. I had kids that came to my door that were as old as 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did too. I'm like, here you go. Take all the candy. Have fun.
Yeah.
But
I didn't. I don't mind. Doesn't bother me. No.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
If you showed up at my door in costume, I'd give you candy.
Even now on the 3rd of November? You do that?
Be a little weird, but
yeah,
probably.
Okay. All right. I'll be right over.
If you said trick or treat, I'd be like, okay, buddy, here you go.
You're a little slow, but okay. Here you go.
You might want to adjust your meds, but here's some candy.
It's December 11th, but all right. You know what I did do on Halloween? I watched.
What'd you do?
I watched It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, on Apple TV. And then right afterwards, I watched the Thanksgiving, Peanuts Thanksgiving, too. Yeah.
Do you have to watch them on Disney Plus? Because aren't they owned now?
Apple TV. Oh. Apple TV.
Oh, okay. I knew it was one of those streaming services that had them.
Yep. So I watched them both on Apple TV back to back.
I love it.
Yeah. Kind of took me back a little bit. Yeah.
So that was good to go back.
Yeah.
Like we were saying before the show, we're young at heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our bodies are falling apart.
Yeah.
But our hearts are young.
Yeah. It was fun to watch. And then I went and waited out in the pumpkin patch for the Great Pumpkin and nobody showed up. Nobody waited out there with me. It was quite sad, but it was fun. Yeah. Yeah. That was fun.
Well, Timmy.
Oh, well. Speaking of someone who waited all by himself and nothing happened except for the police showed. Man in Germany who was drunk fell into a butcher shop and then he snacked on some sausages while he waited for the cops.
That's what I would do. That's just smart.
Do you think so?
You're drunk. You're hungry. You fell into the butcher shop. Sausages? Don't mind if I do.
Well, I can see I see the logic there. I don't think the police did.
No,
police
you just were stealing and drunk.
Yeah, now you're stealing and you're drunk. Yeah, it's kind of 2 in 1 there. Police took a late-night emergency call from a young man who didn't know where he was and said he was injured. He'd fallen from a pub into a neighboring butcher's yard where he found ample snacks and he awaited a rescue. A drunk young man called emergency services shortly before 11 p.m. on Wednesday night in the southern town of Schwabisch Hall, telling the operator that he did not know where he was. As he was also injured, officers launched a search operation. The 28-year-old man could be located shortly thereafter on the shop floor of a closed butcher shop on the Am Spittelbach Street, police said in a statement. Based on preliminary investigations, police said that the man appeared to have fallen out of a pub window, possibly as a result of let me get this right, possibly as a result of his alcohol intake, and into the interior yard of the butcher's next door. He subsequently gained entrance to the store. Oh, they're showing some of the snacks he might have been eating. Okay, I'm down with it. Currywurst. Okay. All right, I'm down with that.
But were they cooked? Because that makes me think, brats at a butcher shop are probably raw.
Well, now, over in Germany, sausages could also be hot dogs, and you'd eat a raw hot dog, wouldn't you?
Okay. Yeah. I would totally grab on a raw hot dog.
Yeah. After that, he consumed several sausages and alerted police, the authorities said. The man was taken to a nearby clinic in an ambulance for treatment. Now, the sausages were taken out of cold storage, it says here. The butcher shop branch manager, who was alerted by police just before 1 a.m. on Thursday, expressed surprise. The person was just lying there in our shop, said Nadja Merkel. She reported that a pigeon net on the building had been torn at the door to the butcher shop, damaged, and 2 sausages were taken out of cold storage. Police did not mention whether or not the butcher was compensated for their wares. The authorities also did not provide details about the man's injuries. He was not able to respond to questions, a police spokesperson said in the morning, adding that he was being investigated on suspicion of a property crime. Probably because he was still picking stuff out of his teeth, I gotta imagine. But they keep showing currywurst. That must be like the big thing in Germany right now.
It sounds delicious. I love curry.
Yeah, currywurst is evidently the sausage right now in Germany. Never had. I bet you can get it, though, over at Kramarczyk's over in Northeast Minneapolis. Ever been?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
No? You got to check it out. It's over on Hennepin Avenue in Northeast Minneapolis. Kramarczyk's has everything from Eastern Europe and Europe.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah. There you go. All right, it's time now for Not Safe for Work, or Not Safe for Work portion of the program. Of course, if you have kids in the room, you're going to want to escort them away. Maybe put on Bluey for them. I'm not talking about anything that's going to be in Not Safe for Work. If you know kids, you know what Bluey is. I'm not talking about an act here that's going to be in Not Safe for Work. Everybody knows who Bluey is if you're a kid. Right?
Certainly. I do.
Right. Okay. But if intern Yoko were here, she'd think I was talking about some sort of sexual act. Bluey is not a sexual act. Bluey is a character on a cartoon.
Does sound a little sexual.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh,
that's how
Bluey.
That's how you know if you're cool with the kids or old. If I say the word Bluey and you think Bluey is something you pay $5 for in an alley,
then you're old.
Mm-hmm. Then you're old. But if you say Bluey,
you're like, no, a cute little blue dog.
Yeah, exactly. You know that you're cool with the kids if you know exactly what Bluey is, and you know that Bluey isn't something you pay for in exchange for crack rock. I've said too much. All right. And then if your boss is in the room, of course, Bluey is not something you do in order to get a promotion. Get him out of the room. Bluey.
Yeah. If your boss is in the room, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. He's already heard probably too much. But yeah, and we'll do this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Our first story is the most popular story that's been sent to us. It's been sent to us by Tony. It's been sent to us by, I think Jeff sent it to us. I think it's been sent to us by about 5 people now.
Okay. Is it good?
It's pretty good. The headline is, "You got some pants on, officer?" Judge stunned at officer going pantsless on Zoom appearance.
Why? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
A Detroit police officer left a judge speechless when he showed up for a Zoom hearing wearing his uniform top and badge, but no pants.
My gosh.
And yes, there's video. And yes, we will post it in the description of this program.
Please.
Yeah. Officer Matthew Jackson from the Detroit Police Department appeared in the 36th District Court via Zoom on Monday for a reckless driving and public intoxication case, according to a video of the hearing posted to YouTube. However, when Jackson appeared on camera, he was wearing his official police button-up uniform, shirt, badge, and boxers, but no pants. Judge Sean Perkins took immediate notice of the bizarre fashion choice, stumbling over his words for a moment before asking, "You got some pants on, officer?" "No, sir," Jackson then told the judge before moving his phone closer to his body so that only his upper portion of his body was visible. Let me show you, Jess, exactly how he appeared before the judge before he covered up.
Oh my gosh. His camera lens is like down between his legs.
Yes, it is. And there is all of said police officer presenting his nightstick to you.
What on earth?
That's exactly what he presented to the judge.
Oh my.
Yeah. A lawyer taking part in the hearing then appeared with a bewildered expression on her face. Despite the awkward moment, the judge continued with the case without further mention of the bizarre incident. Jackson did not appear on the Zoom call again during the hearing. It was not immediately clear why he was not wearing pants during the call. In a statement to The Independent, the Detroit Police Department apologized for the officer's appearance during the hearing. The Detroit Police Department requires its officers to represent themselves in a dignified and professional manner while attending court proceedings, said Detroit Police Chief Todd Bettison. The involved officers' actions are not representative of the professionalism of this department and will be appropriately addressed to maintain the public confidence and efficient operation of this department. Our apologies are hereby extended to the judges and staff of the court, as well as anyone else who may have been in attendance during this incident. The 36th District Court adheres to a casual business attire dress code per the court's website. Well, that was goddamn casual if I've ever seen it. That's what I got to say.
It doesn't get much more casual than that.
No, it doesn't. You know what they say, rock out with your cock out, come on into court.
Is that the saying?
That's the saying, yeah. Yeah.
I never heard the end of it before, so now I know.
Now you know what it is. Yeah. Prohibited attire includes shorts or cutoffs. You know what they say, there's a cutoff at your slossin'? Well, he showed you what your slossin' is. Yeah. Skirts, sleeveless shirts or tank tops, hats or caps, except those worn for cultural or religious purposes, and other clothing which is not suitable in a court or any other professional environment. Well, he might have had a stain on his pants that morning. So he went, I
guess. I was going to say they didn't specify no underpants. So
that's right. So he might have said, I've got a stain on these pants. I can't wear these. So he took them off.
I'm so curious. I want to know why. Like,
he probably was in a hurry and went, I'll just shoot myself from the belt up. They'll never know.
But then he literally had his phone like between his legs, like pointed at his crotch.
And then he played it off like, yes, sir.
Oh, well, yeah. Now that you ask.
You got some pants on? No, sir. Mm-mm. And he gives him the, nope.
Oh, That is hilarious. That's one of my favorite stories in the history of ever. Thank you to everyone who sent that in.
How else are you going to play it off, though, really? I mean, you're caught dead to rights, right?
I guess I don't know what I would do if someone called me out for not having pants on. I just don't know how I would respond.
Enjoy the show. I mean, what else do you say?
Hey, some people would pay big money for this, so.
That's right. You know what? In Taiwan, this would be huge. You're getting the free version of OnlyFans right now.
That's right.
That's what you tell them. You know, on my OnlyFans page, people pay $25 a month for this. You're welcome. That's what you tell them.
It's so weird.
Yeah. And then they're like $25, and then they're focused on the price. You just give them an outrageous monthly fee. Some people pay $50 a month for this on OnlyFans, and they go $50, and then while they're stunned, you go, okay, gotta go, and then you disconnect. See, that's what you do.
I think that would be I would just hang up. I'd be like, oops, bad connection.
Oops. But see, as long as you get them off balance, Jess, that's the idea. You gotta judo flip that thing. You gotta turn it on its ear. You can't.
Or I'd be like, oh my God, I had pants on. What happened to them?
Somebody threw Harry Potter's invisibility cloak in my lap.
Where'd they go?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta come up with something clever. There's got to be, there's got to be something. All right. Our next story. When someone turns to a life of crime, sometimes their needs are complex. Sometimes people need to rule the world. Other times, it's very simple. I just want to gamble and smoke heaters. That's it. Gamble and hit the heaters. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Right? Turns out that this woman in central Indiana, you were a teacher, right? I mean, kids will make you do funny things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The stress of kids will make you do funny things. This woman stole $45,000 from a school music program so she could play the slots and hit the heaters. That's it.
What?
That's all she wanted. $45,000 from the school music program, hit the Pall Malls and play the slots.
Can't steal from the school music program.
It's only a few instruments. That's all. Right? 45,000. We go to Selma, Indiana, where a Delaware County woman faces felony fraud and theft charges after allegedly stealing $45,000 from a central Indiana school music boosters program, using the money to gamble and buy clothes and cigarettes. Amanda Ullman was arrested on Wednesday after reportedly admitting to police that she stole large amounts of money from the Wapahani Music Boosters Organization. The 46-year-old Yorktown woman is now being held in the Delaware County Jail on a $15,000 bond. That's it. She stole 45, but she's only being held on 50.
It doesn't seem like enough.
It doesn't, does it? Crime does pay. Mm-mm. Crime does pay. Ullman's arrest follows a discovery last week by the Liberty Perry School Corporation at the booster organization's bank account, in that it was overdrawn by around $1,400. Now, officials notified school police, who then passed the investigation on to the local sheriff's office. Investigators spoke with school staff, who identified Ullman as the president of the Wapahani Music Boosters in this volunteer role. Ullman reportedly had sole control of all the money used by the organization. It was soon discovered that Ullman had allegedly forged her co-worker's signature on banking documents to misappropriate funds at least 3 times. Police say she also made unauthorized withdrawals and wrote unapproved checks and depleted the entire Music Boosters account. Documents acquired by police showed that approximately $43,936.97 have been withdrawn from the group's First Merchant Bank account between May of 2022 and October of 2025. Investigators say this does not include any profit generated from cash-only events held by the program. So there was more money taken. The school corporation told police that they had been trying to contact Ullman since October 16th, when a music department purchase was declined due to insufficient funds. Staff said they had been trying to call Ullman, but her phone service had been shut off. Police say that while investigating, they found that Ullman frequently gambled at the Harrah's Hoosier Park Casino in Anderson. At the time of her arrest, I don't mean to laugh there, but it kind of sounds like something else when you say Hoosier Park. It's like Hoosier Daddy, Hoosier Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Investigators were still awaiting confirmation from the casino on Ullman's win-loss ratio at the time of her arrest. So they were looking into how often she won and lost at Harrah's.
Oh, gosh.
I got to guess she lost more than she won.
Obviously. That's why she kept taking money rather than putting some back in.
Right. Ullman reportedly met with investigators on Wednesday in the Delaware County Justice Center for a recorded interview. After being read her Miranda rights, she said she had been waiting for police to contact her and bring her in due to the situation at the school. That's in quotes. Documents detail how Ullman then admitted to stealing a large amount of money from the Wapahani Music Boosters organization and forging various documents and signatures to do so. Amanda stated that the reason she took all this money was merely to bring to light the poor record keeping and possible misappropriations of funds by other school board employees. Oh, that was nice of her. Yeah. She wasn't doing it because she needed it. She was doing it to point out the grift and graft from others.
See what's happening?
Yeah. You see? See how easy this is? I didn't do it for me. I did it so you would see it from others.
It's a community service, honestly, for the greater good.
That's right, for the greater good. You got it, Jess. Despite these claims, Ullman said she never contacted any officials regarding other potential fraud within the school corporation. When asked what she did with the money, Ullman told officers she bought cigarettes, bought clothes, and donated them to charity drop boxes.
Obviously, she wasn't doing it just for herself.
Right. She gave money away to people. She's like the Mother Teresa of music teachers, right?
Yeah.
And she gave money to charities, otherwise known as the Harrah's Hoosier Park Casino. Her final statement was that she didn't want the music director to have the money. Because why should the kids learn about music?
Yeah, wow. There's a lot of explaining going on there, but not a lot of sense being made.
No. After the interview, police seized both the debit card and checkbook that Ullman had used to steal the money. She was then placed under arrest just before 7 p.m. and booked into the Delaware County Jail on the following charges: level 5 felony fraud, level 5 felony theft, and level 6 felony forgery. Jail records show Ullman is now being held on only $15,000 bond. Online court records have not been updated to reflect an initial hearing date for her case, and official charges have not been filed as of 1 p.m. last Thursday. Interesting.
Cool. It's making me think of that movie with Kevin James, Here Comes the Boom. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't. No, that's one I haven't seen.
Oh, you have to. Okay, that's my public service announcement to everyone listening. That is like probably the most underrated movie of all time. It's our family favorite.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And it involves the band having to raise money and then a little embezzlement. And then Kevin James' character has to win this MMA ultimate fight to like save the music program. It's amazing.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
You have to watch it. Promise me.
I will. I'll watch it.
Okay.
That sounds funny. All right. Maybe I announced not safe for work a little early, but okay. But our next story, we're still in dangerous territory here. We're going back to 1994 circa right now. The infinite sadness. A man is arrested for smashing pumpkins worth about $500.
Oh.
It's Halloweeny, right? Does this look like the face of a man who would take his rage out at Target?
What is going on with his hair?
I know, right? Very
It's
windswept.
like he's in a hurricane.
Yeah. Kind of looks like the blow dryer got the best of him. Really does, doesn't it? Here's the story here. In a rampage likely to cause infinite sadness. See what I mean by smashing pumpkins?
I'm hearing it.
Okay. For Halloween fans, a Florida man, yes, we're still in Florida, has been accused of smashing pumpkins, valued at nearly $500. Police say that 31-year-old Aaron Thompson, who looks like he has a comic book haircut, came out at night last week and destroyed about 80 pumpkins that were stored in front of a Target in the Tampa Bay area. A security camera, cops allege, recorded Thompson picking pumpkins out of the boxes located in front of the store and smashing them on the ground at around 1:15 a.m. on October 21st. Thompson was arrested several days later after he returned to the store and police were summoned. Brought to the loss prevention office and shown the surveillance footage, Thompson was asked if he could identify the person smashing the pumpkins in the video. I love that game. Like when you do something wrong and they put the video in front of you and you're like, do you know who that guy is? And you're like, no. And they're like, do you know who that guy is? No. Are you sure you don't know who that guy is? No. That's you, dumbass. Are you sure? No, we know it's you.
Which is better, this guy or the girl last week who was like, hey, you guys, I think that might be me.
Yeah, I think it might be me, you guys. I think I should probably turn myself in.
That's like totally me.
Yeah. So when they said, hey, dumbass, who do you think this guy is? Thompson reportedly replied, that's me. Yay! Asked why he destroyed scores of gourds, Thompson stated that he did it because someone was messing with him on Facebook and it made him mad. Aww. Windswept Harry was mad.
Why does that make you want to smash a bunch of pumpkins at Target?
Right. What did Target ever do to you? Right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Thompson, cops added, was unapologetic about his actions, and after smashing the pumpkins, he left the scene to go sleep. He went sleepy.
That was a lot of work.
He was exhausted. His muscles were tired after he smashed out his pumpkins.
Pumpkins are heavy.
They are heavy. The pulverized pumpkins were worth about $472.14, according to police. Charged with felony criminal mischief, Thompson is being held in the county jail in lieu of $5,000 bond. Finally, the scales balance. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. His rap sheet includes convictions for burglary, battery, trespass, criminal mischief, and reckless driving. The arrest report lists Thompson's occupation as what, Jess? If you had to look at this haircut right here and this beard and these piercing eyes, what do you think this guy does for a living?
Well, I mean, I feel like he must be in a band, but I know that's not right.
You are so close. Keep going. Keep going. What instrument does he play?
Is he a drummer?
No, but you're
Guitarist?
You're close. It's a string instrument.
A violinist?
Yes. How
No
did you?
way.
How did you?
A violinist lost his shit and busted up pumpkins? That
Yes.
seems so. My brain can't compute all what's happening right now.
Whoa. How did you do that?
I don't. I'm magic.
You are magic. You are sparkly magic. He previously has performed with the Pinellas Park Civic Orchestra as part of its first violin group.
Oh, so he's good.
He ain't that good. He got caught.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
He's a better violinist than he is a criminal.
that's right. Thompson, by the way, born in 1994.
Aw.
Yeah.
Which in my brain is like, oh, he's so young. But then I just did the math and I'm like, no, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, he's 31 years old. But
Old enough to know better.
he's old enough to know better. That's right. That's right. All right, Jess, now we're going to get to some serious, not safe for work stuff. And we're going to start it off, ding, ding, with a serious fight.
I'm scared.
And if we're starting off with a serious fight, you know where it started.
We're going to Florida.
Oh, no. We're going to Chicago. No. But where do you think the fight took place?
I mean, probably in someone's house, if I had to guess.
It started on
the airplane.
It started on an airplane, Jess.
Thank you for that visual. That was so great.
Yeah,
I wish everyone could see. I hope they're watching the video.
They will if they're watching the video. And of course, you know, we've had passengers go nuts, right? We've had airline employees go nuts. But have we had airline employees go nuts on each other?
No, they're fighting.
We have this week. The stress has gotten to them. And it's happened on United, the worst airline in the world.
United always comes through for us in these stories.
It does. United Airlines flight to Chicago is delayed more than 4 hours after flight attendants start fighting, Jess. You gotta love it. Passengers on what would have been a routine United Airlines flight from Des Moines to Chicago O'Hare faced a frustrating 4-hour delay on Monday after two of the flight attendants got into a fight on the airplane before takeoff. The situation reportedly became so heated that members of United's airport management team had to deplane the passengers of the Airbus A320, pull all the flight attendants from the flight, and then find a replacement set of crew members to work that flight.
Oh my gosh, what a fiasco.
That's nice. The incident occurred on October 27th as United Airlines flight UA2138 was preparing to depart Des Moines International Airport in Iowa. The flight was due to take off at 11:26 a.m., but as the scheduled departure passed by, soon it became apparent what was unfolding. An international flight departure record reviewed by PYOK reveals that an argument, and by PYOK, it's paddleyourown.canoe.com. Canoe is spelled Kanoo.
Oh, that's so weird.
Isn't it? Reveals that an argument between two of the flight attendants was the root cause of the hours-long delay. The record states that the reason for the delay was crew availability. The record continues disagreement on two of the flight attendants, IFDM, in-flight duty manager, pulling all crew and will need to recrew flight. The airplane was deplaned at around 12:10 p.m. as United scrambled to find replacement crew members. According to the United Airlines website, the flight ended up leaving Des Moines at 3:24 p.m., didn't arrive in Chicago until 5:09, which was an arrival delay of 4 hours and 12 minutes. Interestingly, United Airlines normally goes out of its way to explain flight delays in public comments posted to its flight status page, but not any such reason was posted for Flight 2138. A spokesperson for United Airlines did not immediately respond to a request for comment. While thankfully uncommon, disagreements between flight attendants can sometimes be pretty heated. In 2023, for example, two American Eagle flight attendants got into a fight over a seating issue, which ended up with the service being delayed more than 2 hours. In that incident, ESPN reporter Ashley Brewer documented the situation, explaining that the two flight attendants used to work with one another after the heated argument. According to Brewer, one of the passengers sitting in first class had to ask to switch seats with a man sitting in coach so she could sit with her husband. While one of the flight attendants said this was fine, the other disagreed and a verbal fight ensued. And then ding, ding, here we go. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to love it. Flight attendants going after one another. It's, it's like bum fights, but among flight attendants. I think we could sell tickets.
Only with little skirts and vests on.
That's right. I like it. In-flight entertainment. You don't need a device to watch it.
You don't have to pay per view for that.
That's right. You don't have to pay per view for that. Exactly. All right. If I said to you, $80,000 worth of whipped cream, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Something sexy.
Yeah. There's probably a bunch of naked people out there about to have a good time, right?
Whipped cream bikinis.
That's right. Whipped cream bikinis. Well, $80,000 worth of whipped cream was stolen from a trailer this week.
A trailer?
Yes.
Took me a second to process what you said. I'm like...
And from a trailer in Canada. Which, if you're making whipped cream bikinis in Canada, they're probably going to freeze this time of year.
Burr.
Yeah, burr. Those tops are going to be pointy.
Yeah. I mean, does whipped cream stick to frozen nipples? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Be something to try. Police in Guelph, Ontario are investigating after a trailer containing a large amount of whipped cream was stolen on Wednesday. The trailer was loaded with $80,000 in whipped cream, police say. A manager from an unnamed business on Speedvale Avenue West told the officers that the theft happened around 4:30 a.m., which if it's after 3, nothing good happens after 3 a.m., right?
No, definitely not.
That's right. The White Wabash refrigerated trailer with 30 pallets of Gay whipped cream were inside. Gay whipped cream.
Gay whipped. I've never heard of that kind.
No, well, it's a good kind, I hear. Was hooked up to another vehicle and towed away. No details were shared about the suspect vehicle or any potential suspects. I know this much. Police have asked anyone with information to call Constable Jonathan Schleen, which is too close to Schlong for me. But hey, that's his last name. Don't wear it out. At 519-824-1212, extension 7570, or Jay Schleen at guelphpolice.ca, because they want their whipped cream back, damn it. They got a police orgy to attend to. They want their whipped cream back.
We got some whipped cream to use up.
That's right. Okay, Van Halen has the song Ice Cream Man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your ice cream man. You know, something if you're satisfied. Somebody will finish that lyric for me. Don't finish the lyric for me.
I'm not going. It's not that not safe for work.
Oh, no. Well, this ice cream shop owner was extra skeevy. You don't want to finish the lyric for that reason.
Are you going to make me hate ice cream now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I am. Yeah.
No.
This ice cream shop owner secretly recorded underage employees in the bathroom, according to a lawsuit.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we're going to Addison, Illinois. A lawsuit has been filed against an ice cream shop owner who's accused of secretly recording at least 11 underage employees in a bathroom. And yes, this is him, Jess, in his Flavor Frenzy shirt.
Wow. That guy likes to watch kids pee.
Yeah. He
kind of weirdo.
He kind of looks like he does. So you can kind of tell. I mean,
now that you say it, I can't look at him and think anything other than he looks like a guy that likes to watch children go potty.
You put it so nicely, though. You're like, go potty. That lawsuit has been filed against the ice cream shop owner. Flavor Frenzy owner, 58-year-old Steven Weisberg, has been charged with 2 counts of child pornography, 2 counts of unauthorized video recording in August. In September, a grand jury returned a superseding indictment, charging Weisberg with 66 counts of child pornography, 32 counts of unauthorized video recording. On Wednesday, the 11 former employees who were between the ages of 14 to 17 when they were employed at the ice cream shop filed a lawsuit against Weisberg. According to the lawsuit, Weisberg used the Flavor Frenzy to recruit, exploit, and endanger teenage girls. Weisberg allegedly installed a hidden camera in the store's only restroom and required the teenage girls to repeatedly change in that restroom, often supplying bras and Flavor Frenzy branded garments. That should have been your first clue.
Oh my gosh, I'm so disgusted with. I want to punch this guy in the nose.
Have you ever been given a bra at a job?
No. But when you're a kid, you don't know.
I would have asked my parents. That would have been the first thing I would have asked my parents.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to get a bra?
As an adult now, I'd be like, excuse me, you're giving me what? You creepy SOB.
Yeah. Weisberg also, here's the other thing that comes down the pike, Jess, that you're like, okay, this is sketchy too. Weisberg also offered the girls alcohol and marijuana gummies when working on behalf of Flavor Frenzy at festivals. and expressed a desire to hire high school girls with large breasts to work on a promotion for the store.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, this man.
Here's what Antonio M. Romanucci, an attorney, went on to say, and the sprinkles on top of his abuse of these girls was his texting them outside of work, telling him to take an online purity test and asking them about the results, and also touching them in unwanted ways on their hair, backs, and buttocks.
You know, I feel like the appropriate punishment for this gentleman would be just to put him in a room with all of these girls' fathers and then look away.
Oh. And they're all armed to the teeth?
I mean, all they need is their fists.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like if someone did this to my girls, my husband would lose his mind.
Oh, God, yeah. Weisberg is also accused of withholding paychecks and paying employees less than minimum wage. So on top of it, there's the indignity of not even being paid properly.
Oh my gosh.
Weisberg is currently in police custody. So hopefully they're giving it back to him a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to show you a picture here, Jess, as soon as my article populates here. I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to try and zoom in as tight as I can here. What do these 6 people all have in common? Can you see all 6 of them? You can
I can read. They're nudists.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. So, you read it. Okay.
You're going to find them naked on the beach. Ew. Sorry, I ruined your punchline.
You did. You blew the punchline.
I should have just pretended like I just guessed it and really blew your mind.
You wouldn't want to see all 6 of them naked, right?
Definitely not at the same time.
I should have zoomed in tighter. That's what she said. But can you imagine seeing all 6 of them naked?
No.
Yeah. Nude confusion. Beachgoers are arrested for stripping outside their designated zone in St. Lucie County. Of course, we're going to Florida.
Do they have nude beaches in Florida?
Oh, yes.
Huh.
Fort Pierce, Florida, to be exact, where you got to be careful
when find one when I'm there.
You'll have to find one when you're there. Just to try it, give it a shot.
Just to watch.
Just to watch. So wait, you're gonna go right to the edge of the zone and just fold your arms and take a look?
I'm just gonna bring a bag of popcorn and just be like, oh, people watching.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, Fort Pierce, Florida is where you're gonna want to go, where you have to be careful where you get naked. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office said it is responding to it. Well, here, I can give you a little bit of an idea right here. Hold on. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office said it is responding to a surge in complaints about unauthorized nudity at the Little Mud Creek Boat Ramp Beach and surrounding areas north of Blind Creek Beach, a location known for its designated nude optional zone. The parking area at Blind Creek Beach is being paved and the parking lot is closed. As a result, some people are parking at Little Mud Creek Boat Ramp Beach, about 1 mile north of Blind Creek Beach, and they're using Little Mud Creek Beach as a nude beach. I hope you got all that. I'm not saying it again. The sheriff's office says people who do that could be arrested if they choose to go naked at a beach that is not clothing optional. So to give you an idea, Jess, let's just say you're at Blind Creek Beach. The reason they call it that is because you could go blind looking at this.
Yep.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
That's great.
So you don't have to go to Florida. You've seen it right here.
So he's clearly not naked all the time, though, because he's got quite the white butt.
Well, yeah, he just, takes it off for the beach. Yeah. St. Lucie County Sheriff's Public Information Officer. I can't even talk now after showing you that. Lieutenant Andrew Belanca. By the way, the guy who I showed you the picture of, his Belanca was hanging out. We have an obligation to enforce all laws, whatever the law is, he says. There are signs warning people nudity is not permitted at Little Mud Creek Beach. You don't want your Little Mud Creek hanging out. But Some beachgoers object to the arrests. I feel bad for them. I wish it didn't happen. But what's the problem, they said. Why would you find it offensive if someone is naked? Who's out there to make the complaint is the question, said Andy, a beachgoer who would not give his last name. Probably because he didn't want to be arrested. I don't feel I'm harming anyone. I'm my own person and I have the right the same as they do, said Elsie Frederick, a beachgoer from Orlando. Do you think you're hurting anything if you're out here without any clothes on? We asked a man on the beach who was naked. Not really. I guess because I just like a tan with no tan line, he said. He was probably 70 years old. And
he's like, not because I'm an exhibitionist. I just don't like tan lines.
Yeah, he doesn't like tan lines. Turns out since early September, deputies have increased patrols in the area, utilizing both foot and ATV units. Their efforts have focused on education, outreach, and enforcement, including reminders about clearly posted signage that marks the boundaries of the clothing optional zone. Beachgoers at Little Mud Creek Beach told us people their need to keep their swimsuits on. They've been told, basically, that where the line is. They
just don't cross the line.
Yeah, just be careful where you get naked. But they, yeah. Speaking of getting naked, the other place you don't want to get naked, evidently, is the Walmart.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah. But one man has decided to eschew that, especially in Dumfries, Virginia. A man is facing charges after police say he chased after people while naked at a Walmart in Dumfries on Tuesday morning. Who decides I'm going to get rid of all of my clothing and just chase after people in the Walmart? What's the point?
People who are either on drugs or who have completely lost their minds.
Well, there's that, sure. I'm just going to chase after you and get a hug. Yeah, no. Can
you imagine seeing that coming running at you and you just went in to grab some eggs or, maybe a sweatshirt for your kid. All of a sudden there's a naked man coming at you.
That's when you try to kick the field goal to win the game. That's when that motion comes in. See?
When your judo hapkido skills come in handy.
That's right. According to the Prince William County Police Department, officers were called to a Walmart on Richmond Highway just before 9 a.m. for reports of indecent exposure. When officers arrived, they learned a man who had taken off all his clothes began chasing customers inside the store. The man was arrested at the store. Police say he was under the influence. There you go, Jess. Ding, ding, ding. When they took him into custody, no injuries were reported. The man had been identified as 20-year-old Lance Irving Lassane Jr. He's been charged with indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and public intoxication. Didn't say what he was intoxicated on, but if you had to take a guess, Jess, what do you think?
No, let's go with meth.
Going with meth?
Yeah. Seems like a good choice.
I would say that's probably a good one. Okay, and finally, there was a song by, who did that song? Was that Ohio Players? I think it was Ohio Players that had the song Fire. Remember? Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was probably about a booty call, don't you think?
For sure.
Yeah. I think someone tried to reenact it this past week. A woman admits to a booty call arson attack in New Jersey.
Those two things, those don't usually go hand in hand.
That's going to be the name of my new album, Booty Call Arson Attack. Yeah.
I'd buy it.
Yeah. A New Jerseyan torched a man's home after a botched tryst try. Boy, that's hard to say 10 times fast.
I don't even think I could say it once.
Botched tryst try. A New Jersey woman has pleaded guilty to the 4 a.m. torching of a man's home after he fell asleep inside and stood her up on a booty call, according to records. Are you sure that story earlier was your favorite one of the week?
This one might win.
All right. In a court hearing on Friday, 35-year-old Tyja Russell cop to aggravated arson, a second-degree felony. In a plea deal, prosecutors have agreed to recommend an 8-year prison term, of which Russell will statutorily be required to serve 85%, or no more than 6.5 years. Russell was indicted on 5 other charges, including attempted murder and aggravated assault. As part of the deal, prosecutors will move to dismiss those counts when she's sentenced on January 9th. Now, as detailed in court records, here's the good part. Russell was traveling to the Woodbury home of victim Curtis Stokes, who told cops he invited said defendant, Ms. Russell, to his residence to have sex. Stokes added that Russell was a side chick with whom he had been having sex. Okay? It was his side piece. He had dinner.
Friends with benefits. I got it.
There you go. The pair's pre-dawn communication consisted of Russell texting Stokes, hello, to which he romantically responded, bring your ass.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was a command. It wasn't, could you please bring your ass? Or, hey, baby, would you like to bring that ass? It was, bring your ass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably not get me running over, but I'm, you know.
Maybe he has a certain charm.
Like a little nuance with my requests.
You know, sometimes a little romance goes a long way. But by the time Russell arrived, Stokes had fallen asleep and did not respond to her at the door. Mistake number 1. This is where he went wrong. Incensed, Russell sent a text complaining that you wasted my money to come out here. Receiving no reply, Russell then texted a series of threats. You smoked? I see you want to die. And I swear to God, I hope you die.
Oh my goodness, these people.
Oh, she's serious. Here, let me show you a picture of her right here. This is her with her baby right there.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah. Well, I think her baby's in for a hell of an upbringing. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I think that baby ought to not play. I know that much. Russell then went to a Conoco gas station because she's pissed. She's not getting that booty call. Purchased lighter fluid, matches, and a cigarette lighter. She has a plan, Jess. She returned to Stokes' home and set a fire outside the rear apartment's sole entrance or exit. One way in, one way out, and you ain't getting out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Stokes told police he awoke to the smell of smoke and was unable to leave via the door as the fire was too intense. Stokes, who suffered 1st and 2nd degree burns, forcefully moved an entire window frame to escape, wearing only a t-shirt and covered head to toe in soot and ash. He ran to the nearby police headquarters to report the blaze. He was later treated at a local hospital for burns and smoke inhalation. The criminal case against Russell has, for unknown reasons, dragged on for more than 6 years. During that period of time, Russell gave birth to a child who could be seen with her during one video court appearance. I showed you that kid on video.
Yeah. At least she had pants on.
Yeah. At least everybody had pants on. So there you go. And that's how we wrap up Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. Now, we need a palate cleanser. And as I promised you earlier, we're going to the planet of the monkeys.
Yay!
Yay! Now, there's one really known monkey story that's out there. We'll start with that one first. As it seems that Tulane University is doing some weird experiments with monkeys. The monkeys escaped, Jess. The monkeys would not have it. Now, there's some, let's just say, controversy as to what kind of experiments were done on these monkeys. People say that these monkeys carried hepatitis C, herpes, and COVID. Tulane University said, no. Those were erroneous reports. These monkeys did not have those diseases. Here's the story. Aggressive monkeys destroyed after escaping from overturned truck, but one was still on the loose. One monkey had the brains to get away.
Killed them? This makes me sad. Tim, you're supposed to be cleaning my palate.
But no. Here's the thing. One of them got away, though, Jess. One was on the run. One of those monkeys said, F you to the man, and got away from them all, even though the majority of them got captured. Here's the deal. A truck that was carrying 21 rhesus monkeys from Tulane University to a testing facility in Florida overturned on Tuesday, October 28th, setting the primates loose. 21 monkeys. They were, and supposedly there were diseased monkeys at that. And there was, and everybody, and there were jokes for days that, don't have sex with the monkeys because they've got hepatitis C, herpes, and COVID. You never know what you're going to catch, right?
Or maybe just don't have sex with monkeys anyway.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't anyway. But especially these monkeys, right?
Yeah.
But the Jasper County Sheriff's Department warned that the monkeys were aggressive. I don't know sexually, but they were aggressive, right? And claimed that they posed that health risk. However, Tulane University later released a statement saying the monkeys were not infectious. Okay. They claimed that they weren't diseased. They're not diseased, right? But they were diseased. Okay.
Of course, obviously.
Right. Okay. So the rhesus monkeys were being transported from Tulane University. They escaped from the overturned truck following an accident in Mississippi. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department announced the news in a Facebook post on Tuesday, October 28th, warning that the monkeys posed a health risk and were aggressive. It's been reported that several monkeys are on the loose. Do not approach the monkeys. If you see one, call 911. All right? They claimed at the time they were in contact with an animal disposal company to help handle the situation. Mississippi Wildlife and Fisheries were also on site with local law enforcement. So they went looking for the monkeys. They said additionally that the animals at the time carry hepatitis C, herpes, and COVID. However, in a separate statement, Tulane University said the monkeys were being transported were not infectious. Now, in the process of looking for the monkeys, they got the majority of the monkeys together. They got 20 of the monkeys together. But 3 of the monkeys had been unaccounted for after their accidental release. And this was as of, is this today's byline? I think this is today's byline. 3 monkeys have been unaccounted for after the accidental release last week. But on Sunday, yesterday, we're recording this on Monday, one was seen near a home and shot. So they got one of them. But there's 2 that are still out there, Jeff.
Get him.
Be free, my monkey brother. I did what any other mother would do to protect her children, Jessica Bond Ferguson of Heidelberg told the Associated Press. I shot at it. So this wasn't any authorities that got the monkey. This was
just a mom.
This is just a mom, like in a trailer somewhere.
It's like, you're not infecting my kids with the herpes. You get out. I'm going to shoot you.
You herpetic monkey. And it just stood there, and I shot again, and he backed up, and that's when he fell. Oh, she shot the innocent monkey.
I could never shoot a monkey. Honestly, it would be like shooting a person. Unless they were ripping my kid's face off, then I could shoot them. But
Bond, who has 5 children, told the AP she was concerned about the safety of her children and others. When the accident happened on October 28th, the Jasper County Sheriff's Office warned about the rhesus monkeys, of course. Oh, they got pictures of monkeys. I couldn't shoot them. Soon after word of the crash circulated on social media, Tulane University, where the animals were being transported, reported that the animals were healthy and free of pathogens. So that they were healthy monkeys. So don't shoot them.
Put a little hat on them. Get them one of those little things they wind up and make music with.
Throw them peanuts. Keep them entertained until they can come get them.
Put them in a dress.
I don't know about the dress, but, you know. But the university said it did not own the animals at the time of the accident and was not responsible for transporting them. So there's some confusion as to what's going on with it. In an update on social media on Sunday, November 2nd, the Jasper County Sheriff's Office stated that a monkey had been seen by a nearby resident, and the animal was in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, which is taking part in the investigation of the monkey's escape and their capture. So they're running around. It sounds like two of them are trying to get free, but one of them got shot by a woman. So they ask, "What do you do? What do you do if you see a monkey in Mississippi?" I say, like Anne Frank, hide them in the attic. That's just me, right?
I'm with you.
But in a press release released on Wednesday afternoon, MDWFP stated it is coordinating with local authorities in Jasper County following reports of rhesus macaques loose in the area. According to them, rhesus macaques are known to be aggressive. The public is advised to avoid any contact and should not attempt to approach them. They're supposed to report credible sightings to 1-800-BE-SMART. Now, I want to know in Mississippi, who's smarter, the rhesus monkeys or the residents of Mississippi?
Oh, Mississippi friends, I know you're smarter than a monkey.
Well, let's hope. I think there's still two out there. But the one mom, she just fired and killed the monkey. So they can't be that smart.
That's wild.
Yeah. Now,
and they're probably so accustomed to people like being around them that they're not afraid of people.
Right. They're probably like, "Oh, human. He'll feed me.
They're going to give me food." Yeah.
Yeah, he'll feed me. Now, I think I know where one of the monkeys went. And it's a feel-good story.
Okay, good.
I think one of the monkeys got in the Halloween spirit.
What?
Yeah, and he went all the way to Texas.
Oh, he hitchhiked?
He might have hitchhiked. He might have drove a car. I don't know. He might have took a circus wagon. Might have got on the back of a horse.
Somehow he got there.
But a monkey in a diaper ended up getting loose in a Spirit Halloween store in Texas. And we have video. I'll show you the video, or I'll show you the picture. There he is right there, up in the rafters of a Spirit Halloween store.
Oh, Timmy has a diaper on.
Yeah, he does. He has a diaper on, and he's crawling around in a Spirit Halloween store. He's just checking out the costumes. See?
He's so cute.
Yeah. So there's a happy ending for one of these macaque monkeys, I think. I'm not sure. Let's find out the story here. Wild video shows a monkey in a diaper running loose inside a busy Spirit Halloween store in Texas, where it evaded capture for 30 minutes while swinging from the rafters. The pet primate broke free from its owner Monday night at the holiday store in Plano, seemingly spooked by a scaring moving display, then adding an unexpected fresh scare for shoppers. Footage shows the monkey running along the top of the shelves, scaling pillars and swinging from the ceiling. Now, see, if I were in a Spirit Halloween store and there's a monkey swinging from I stop shopping for Halloween stuff. I just want to see the monkey.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I'd want to go play. That's me.
I would think someone did it just for me. I'd be like, "Oh my gosh,
yeah,
a monkey.
Somebody let a monkey free for me." This was Animal Kingdom Live, said Arlene Pinkston, who filmed the bizarre spectacle while shopping with her daughters. My daughter looked up and she said, "What in the world?" And she's like, "Is that a real monkey?" And I looked up and said, "Well, it's got a diaper on, so I guess it's real." Pinkston told the outlet, chuckling. The monkey apparently got spooked by one of Spirit Halloween's iconic animatronic decorations and ran from its owner, according to store employee Jimmy Harris. I didn't know you could bring a monkey into Spirit Halloween, but I'm going to try now.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if it's an emotional support animal and you have the right certifications.
Yeah. It was,
and of course, it has a diaper on, so it doesn't make an accident and a mess.
There's another picture here, Jess. Look at this. Okay, you're in Spirit Halloween and you see this. Do you calm down?
Aww.
Are you like, "Come here, little
I'm just
buddy"?
so happy.
Yeah. See, that's why I always carry.
It's like the best day ever.
That's why I always carry peanuts in my pocket, just in case I run across a monkey or a chipmunk. Yep. The monkey apparently, as we said, got spooked. It was entertaining, Harris said. A lot of people just stood and watched it for like 30 minutes. The whole time they were like, "Monkey!" And we had kids trying to catch it. See, That makes for a fun afternoon. See?
Yeah, that's what you do when you see a monkey. You don't pull out a gun and shoot it.
That's right. Plano police were called to the scene and reported seeing the monkey swinging from the rafters wearing a diaper. The monkey was finally recaptured once its owner offered it a cookie. So that's all it took, Jess, was a cookie. You just give
I love this story.
See, in Mississippi, all he had to do was offer the monkey a cookie. And you offer the
Just give him a cookie. He'll be happy.
That's right. Give him a cookie and he'll come to you. The monkey was not harmed, and police said no shoppers were ever in danger. Our team responded quickly and contacted local authorities, who arrived promptly on the scene. In a rather unexpected turn, the monkey was safely coaxed with a cookie. Spirit Halloween spokesperson Lisa Barr said in a statement, the monkey was tagged with identification and returned to its owner without incident. We're grateful to our staff and local responders for handling the situation swiftly and safely. While this is certainly not a typical day at Spirit Halloween, we're glad it ended on a positive note, said Barr. There you go. And that, my friends, is how you lure in a monkey, with a cookie.
And that's a great way to end the show.
That's right. With monkeys and cookies. See? That's how you do it. All right. That'll do it for today. Jess, what's going on in your world?
Oh, what's going on? We do have a couple events that are on my website if you're interested. One in December and one in January at the Palmer House. So you can check those out and shoot me a message if you would like a discount code, because I can give you that because you're my friends.
There you go. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Tomorrow on the big show, Supernatural News with Mally Fox. And then, tell you what, Thursday I'm gonna put it in the mystery category. I'm not gonna quite give you your clue for this week yet.
No clues, huh?
No clues this week.
Just a mystery box.
Just a mystery box. Yeah. Yeah. We'll start out November on a mystery. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. It's not like I don't have anybody. It's just I'm gonna leave it a bit of a mystery. Actually, I've got some really good shows coming up in November, but I just leave this week a bit of a mystery.
Sometimes the mystery is fun. I like it. You're a man of mystery.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, that'll do it for today. I want to thank Mark Gray for being with us. And again, I want to encourage you guys to go to the link in the description of this program. Go get the book. The book is The Las Vegas Massacre Connections. Finding Strength Through Tragedy After America's Deadliest Mass Shooting. That's the name of the book. We have a link in the description of this program. Again, an uplifting book that I think you guys are going to love. It's an amazing book. Mark is an amazing person. I think you're gonna love that book. Very uplifting book. And by all means, go get the book. All right, that'll do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow for Supernatural News and Darkness Radio. And thank you for joining Jess and I for the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.